Welcome back, episode 115 of Revisited, and we are doing one of the free revisits that you were handing out like candy like a year and a half ago.
That was pretty funny. That was a funny day. We had fun that day.
Who is we? Who's this we person? Because I'm not part of that. We are talking about Final Fantasy changed everything. And I hate it in parentheses. By Jacbros, I believe it is.
Jacbros, something like that.
Don't know them. Seems they don't do content anymore.
That's
Either they don't
like.
do content or they move to a different channel and we just don't know where that channel is.
They replied to a comment a month ago.
Okay, so yeah, I guess they just don't do content anymore. Description, boys.
I don't much care for Final Fantasy X. Let me explain why in this hour-long tirade. I tried to make as many jokes as I could.
No. Can't you just be an analysis boy?
Otherwise, this video would have been rough to sit through. I hope y'all at least try to get through it. Oh, you have timestamps. That's fun. This is my favorite game of all time.
Don't agree, but
it is. Well, obviously. I don't expect you to agree. You got a dumb background.
It's an awesome background. What do you mean?
Yeah, okay.
They all glow in their bright colors in their fight.
I didn't ask, sir. Yeah. Nah, this is it's not. This is
replaying it. I still love this game.
Yes.
You, of course, see the problems now when you're not. Mm-hmm. But I still love this game.
Yeah, it is such a good game.
Still hate the sphere grid.
I love the. What's wrong with the sphere grid?
Still hate the sphere grid.
What's wrong with the sphere grid?
I've just never been a fan of the way you level up your... I've never been a fan of... If you're going to give me the option to choose, just let me choose. Don't make me go, hey, here's 5 MP over here, and just let me level up the MP, if that's what I want.
That's lame.
I am more into whatever changes you want to make to a battle system, especially in a turn-based, than the way you level up. I'm not a big fan of like job systems outside of like a dragon. Everything else is just like,
That's not fair because that game is amazing.
That game's amazing. When's the new one come out?
I think it's like February.
Oh my god, what are we doing?
Me, I can't play it.
Why not?
Cause I still got 5 Yakuza games to get.
But that didn't stop you from playing 7.
I'm dumb in monkey brain. I want to get in on the hype. Yay! I heard 2 best friends say you don't need to be a fan of Yakuza to get into this because it's a separate story that has integrations in it that you don't need to be a fan of Yakuza, but it helps if you are. And I was just like, okay, that's a good jumping in point.
You wish you would have knew beforehand.
Yeah, because like I said, there are people in 7 that are in the earlier game. So when they have their conclusion or their 20 years later here, I'm noticing them back here like, oh, it's that guy.
This is the basement order of JoJo.
Watch episode 16 of part 3. Go back to part 1.
Oh, thanks.
Like I said, I was just dumb and hype monster.
Oh, I need to give you my PS5 so you can play Spidey too.
Yeah, that's not going to be probably going to be this weekend. Don't know. Yeah, who knows?
I mean, you can literally get through it in a Saturday because your boy did just that.
But I'm more of the
dumb monkey brained boy. I'm at 96% now though.
That's after a while.
Yep, I beat the story.
You don't know how many times I'm like stories. Hey, how about a couple games of Blitzball? It's a problem.
It's such a problem. I downloaded the mod for an expanded Blitzball system.
What?
Oh yeah, they revamped everything, the way skill points work, how you capture talent from the other players. They've rebalanced everything so people have more specialized. Like you have super HP, and this team has super attack. but not great HP.
No.
Yeah, they made it. It's a problem.
I'm very interested in what he is to say.
Yes, absolutely.
It changed everything. It seems like based purely off of that. He was a fan of older Final Fantasies.
But what did they change from them?
I don't know. And what did it change going forward? Because it's not like 13 had a straight up turn-based battle system.
I
don't know about 11 and
12. This is 6 years ago. So you do know about 12. 12 was the one you hated.
13 was the one I hated.
No, you also hated 12.
I never played 12.
Where you would run around. It was quasi MMO style. You've definitely played 12, and you were like, I did not like that game.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
No, you've definitely played 12.
This does not look familiar, sir.
I don't think you spent a lot of time on 12, but you definitely played 12.
This does not look familiar. Because
I remember acquiring that game, and we both played it, and we both dropped it.
I do not remember this.
Watch a battle. Watch a battle.
I vaguely recognize the main character from Dissidia of Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Watch a battle. And you'll see, okay, this trash.
I mean, I'm not going to say that it's trash or not, but that doesn't mean I played it.
You will remember from the trash gameplay. Come at me, Final Fantasy 12 fans. Because that is the poop.
I do not recognize.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I said it was pseudo. Yes! And we dropped it because it was like this pseudo MMO bush. And we hated it.
Wow, this looks bad.
Yeah, I think we got collectively 3 hours in between the two of us.
So how do you remember this if it was 3 hours in 15 years ago? Yeah, I think you're just lying.
I remember a lot of things from the heat's on. No, the heat is off.
Okay, so Final Fantasy XI does not have a turn-based battle system, so we can't be talking about it going from something into turn-based, which is what changed it.
And my original point, before we got into Final Fantasy XII, is this was 6 years ago, so it's not even like it was like a year after, and it's like, oh my god, everything's trying to be like Final Fantasy X now. You've seen how JRPGs have formed since then, and they're not a bunch of Final Fantasy X. So I wonder, maybe thematically, what happened there?
In what way? What themes did it influence for future generations?
I don't know.
Of games.
Maybe we'll know once we hit that play button. Stop looking up Final Fantasy 12 stuff.
No, it's dead. I'm not playing it. It's horrible.
Yeah, I said it was. I'm shocked you do not remember playing it.
Yeah, because I never played it.
Okay, buddy.
Here at Jacbros Productions, let me welcome you to the world of real pussy, sticky hands, and living the dream.
You don't know how much of the soundtrack that I've just downloaded and been re-listening to.
It's always bad when you rediscover your love of a soundtrack.
It is. There were certain points where I'm just like, this is everything. When you're going into Xanarkid and that song is playing throughout the battles and there is no ha! And as they're throwing the ball and fighting and stuff and there's no celebration. Yeah. It is so muffin good.
Yeah, but he hated it.
As a late bloomer to the Final Fantasy series, having played 4 through 9 recently, it's a series that has stuck with me, whether through its engaging combat systems, memorable worlds and characters, or challenging stories that usually went deeper than the surface level. I have a lot of love for Final Fantasy. It's resonated deeply within me and is what I'll continue to compare most of my RPG experiences with in the future. Now, Fuck 10. Not gonna beat around the bush here. I despise 10, and the list of reasons detailing why is very long. To be more precise, it mostly comes down to how much of a step back in quality it was. It feels lazy and rushed. It was Kitase directed and everything, man, so my fonts turning out like this just sucks. Yoshinori Kitase being the director behind 2 of the best entries in the series. And the other one which was, alright. At least it wasn't this shit cracker, right on.
I would love... I'm gonna have to look up a bunch of videos to see why people love 7 so much.
Oh no, don't do this to people.
Because I don't understand. I have never understood the love for 7.
Don't do this.
Ever.
That's Phil. He loves it.
Phil
I have no dog in this fight. Come after BG.
He is a basic boy, and you know it.
This shit cracker, right off the bat I already have a problem when the game asks you to name Tidus. Okay, let's break it down. Naming characters in RPGs, pretty fucking good idea. It gives you a sense of responsibility when you see your name in dialogue during gameplay, thereby making the story feel more personal. And that's my problem with it in 10, because nowhere in the game at any point does anyone call Tidus by name. You don't name the other characters either, you just name Tidus and your son.
They couldn't. It's voiced.
Maybe he means in the dialogue stuff.
There's very few moments where it's not a voice dialogue thing with the main cast.
But they could have also did it like the Persona where they just stop before they say whatever name it is.
But I've always found that awkward.
I have always found it awkward. It's I can't remember what game it was, but they basically give you a nickname and they just call you the nickname.
Yeah, I know. Name. I remember, but it's nothing.
I know they do it in like the Madden story modes where they'll go, his name is Franchise or something.
They did it in NBA 2K Living the Dream where you're Freak Nick, I think you are. Or the Freak. You're something with Freak in your name.
I know in Blitz the League too it was Franchise. I do not remember that Freak Nick book.
Living the Dream.
There was no way it was the Dream. A Spike Lee joint.
Living the Dream.
It has to be a Spike Lee joint.
It is a Spike Lee joint.
What are we doing, Spikey?
Was it Freak Nick? I think it was Freak Nick.
Jesus Christ.
We're just going to say it was Freak Nick for the sake of time. And I was right. It was Freak something. Freak Nick came up when I looked up Freak.
Yeah, because Freak Nick was a thing down in Atlanta.
But what does that got to do with Spike Lee and his joint?
Maybe he went down there and spilt his joint all around.
Other characters either, you just name Tidus and your summons. And for the summons, that's fine. You've been able to name them in other games and they don't have a major presence in the story anyway. When you look back on the previous entries where you can also name characters, they would at least say these names during dialogue, and that's the distinction. With 10 introducing voice acting, it only makes sense that the game can't keep up with a custom name for the protagonist. But then pick one.
I don't see this as a problem.
No.
It's just...
You can even say it leads into the... And of course, spoiler. You can even say it leads into the story because he's not really a person. If you want to make that type of thematic connection.
Yeah, I don't see this as a negative towards the game in any way, shape, or form.
This is more of what I feel would be a nitpick.
I think this would be better served after you've laid some legitimate points.
Yes. This should not be what you come out the gate with.
The protagonist. But then pick one or the other, not both. It makes your cutscenes feel detached of involvement, and it made Tidus feel more unimportant than he already was. Yes, they address him, but only with pronouns, which doesn't have the same power that a name does.
A pronoun is boring!
It doesn't feel natural at all, and they weren't opposed to giving the rest of the cast names, so why is Tidus special? I think deep down Square knew this was a problem, because for the rest of the series, every protagonist gets called by their name. It just sucks for 10 because it's something that could have easily been fixed during pre-production. But enough about that. Let's go into arguably the most important part of an RPG.
Oh no.
The predominant battle system for FF has always been Active Time Battle, or ATB for short. First introduced in Final Fantasy IV, a turn would activate after a certain amount of time.
How has it always been this?
If it's first introduced in a sequel series, I understand. He's always been here. He got here last week. Okay.
Fade after a certain amount of time has passed. Then the player has to input their commands in real time. It's a system that keeps you on your toes and doesn't make the overall experience feel too easy.
It does not keep you on your toes. You can just mash as you would without just going to get a drink in the middle of it. It's just mashing. Oh, this turn is coming up. This person needs help. Let me go to item instead.
Yeah, you have 4 people who's waiting on cooldown. How's that keeping you on your toes?
Because while you're waiting, your enemy could attack.
That's not keeping you on your toes because there's nothing that you can do. You're waiting.
But if you don't attack soon enough, your enemy could attack.
But there's nothing that you can do to make yourself if you were mashing the buttons, but...
Legend of Dragoon keeps you on your toes with this battle system. You can stop rolling your eyes. This is a legitimate point.
I didn't roll my eyes that time because I agree with this.
It has a sort of quasi-rhythm based thing. So on top of needing to have the timing down for each edition, there's also a counterattack. So you also at some time need to hit circle instead of X to do your attack. That keeps you on your toes because every encounter, every time you press that attack button, you still need to do a lot in order to get the maximum damage, spirit, energy, all that stuff. Dragoon spirit, all that stuff.
Does get too hard for the casual player, you can switch over to wait mode in the menu. The wait mode is an...
Why would this be too hard for old?
Casual player? What's a casual player in terms of a Final Fantasy game? Is it just somebody jumping into 6 and then just rocking with it?
It's got to be like, this is not only my first RPG, this might be my first game ever.
Because if it's just a little bar filling up, you do the bar when it fills up.
Do the bar! Do the bar! Harry Potter Quidditch, when we played that, Mike was, you gotta fill up the bar, and you made fun of him. You can do the bar! Do the bar! The bar had nothing to do with it, Mike!
I remember that.
Give me Hufflepuff. No, give me Slytherin. That's what I'm feeling right now. He's a floating piece of bread! Oh, dude, that was a good play.
You say so.
Wait mode in the menu. The wait
Look at my fat slow keeper, just doom ba doom ba doom. Can we talk about my keeper? Dude, it was a good dude. It's
switch
good.
over to wait mode in the menu. The wait mode is an easy setting that freezes time when you have to pick your next move. It gives the player a sense of action that, while wasn't perfectly executed in some games, reduced the tedium of encounters significantly. 10 goes in a different direction and tries something I'll admit is cool on paper but limited due to its execution. The conditional turn-based battle system consists of turn orders that change depending on what your characters do. An act list is located in the top right corner that dictates who's next, which can't be scrolled through to get a better view of how the battle is gonna work out. Turns that use regular attacks doesn't shift the turn order. However, using items or defending changes the order in your character's favor, while using skill or magic can risk you waiting longer for that character's turn depending on the speed stat. And this is all good and fine, but it devolves into something less engaging for the general encounters, but also for the boss fights.
I disagree because whereas before you're just kind of in your mind frantically trying to get your attack out before your enemy's attack, what have you. This is more strategic. So while it does slow the game down, it adds a different layer. Now, whether that layer is something you personally gravitate towards is another issue. But you can't just say it makes it less engaging.
Because Orin is the slowest person, but he does the most damage to big armor people. So you gotta either whittle them down, or you can wait until Orin is ready.
Also for the boss fights. In previous FFs, the dynamism and excitement of the combat came from the fights always moving in real time. But here... Okay, Final Fantasy X is piss easy. The CCP system made it boring because the enemies are fucking terrible. I like my games hard, but that's not the issue here, for when that dynamism the ATB system brought to the combat is missing, and it all devolves down to focusing on enemy weaknesses.
So is it just the speed that was better with the other one? If this is
you don't have time, you don't have the time to make a choice of what elemental attack am I gonna use when you just gotta go, I gotta hurry up before they attack me. This is a bullshit argument. This is a bullshit argument. Because, you say you like your games hard. Final Fantasies were no harder because you had to pick attack.
You had to, just quickly, frantically go through your attack and just go, I'm going to pick this. That's not... It should be... I feel like it would be better if it was difficult trying to figure out what an enemy's weakness is, or how to exploit that, or get your party in the best position, manage your MP, as opposed to I've screwed up because I simply didn't have the time to pick fire. That seems like, because somebody could just call you and you just die as you're not paying attention. I don't think that seems more artificially difficult than is difficult because the game is better, or I don't know. Yeah, I don't see how exactly that's better.
It'd be like if let's say you have errands and they usually take 2 hours, and now it's like, well, you got to run these errands in 45 minutes. The errands themselves are no more or less difficult than they usually would be. It's just that you have an artificial limit put on top of it. So now it seems like it's much harder because you have to do it in a certain time frame. But again, the tasks themselves are no more or less hard to begin with. It's just this plopped on time limit that changes things. And this feels very much like the argument of action RPGs versus turn-based. I don't want to just sit there and boringly wait for attack.
You are straw-manning the people who don't like turn-based JRPGs, sir, and I shan't stand for it.
Literal arguments I can pull up.
I understand.
Literal arguments.
Focusing on enemy weaknesses, there's no real depth to the combat. CTP
yes, there is. Focusing on enemy weaknesses. Lulu needs to attack this lightning person, but it
doesn't get hurt by physical attacks.
I don't have any MP restoratives. I have 12 MP. It's going to be a while before I hit a save or another place where I can buy MP. Orin is very slow, and he's the only person that can do this. Waka's poisoned, and he needs to hit this bird, but if I hit the bird, he dies. You can't just say that there's no depth to this when there is. This thing cannot be hurt by anybody but this one person in the beginning. Later, Yuna learns, like, thunder and all that crap if you play your cards right. But there is depth. There is a role that every party member plays.
Why is active time battle depth? Just because you have to do what you would have done in this game, but faster.
The combat. CTB was designed for the player to take the time to think up a strategy. This change makes sense when you realize they brought on the guy who directed the Tactics series Art the Lad and Front mission as the battle planner. The thing is, 10's combat system is built around you strategizing, but encounters don't involve much strategy when most of the combat relies on recognizing enemy types and boss gimmicks. There simply isn't enough of...
Yes, rank and file, but then there's that big old sandworm in the desert where if it eats somebody and you kill it while they're eating, they don't get that party experience. There's stuff like that. There's stuff like where if you hit, there's this big that big, it's got a bunch of teeth and it's like a big wormy thing. If you hit it, it's gonna use breath or something, and it can poison you, confuse you, darkness you.
A bunch of status elements.
So you got to work around that. Do you summon an Aeon? Do you equip something that will ward off confusion at the very least, so you have one person that's not confused?
Whatever the most problematic status ailment might be.
Yes, there is these rank and files, but not every battle can be such an engaged thing.
What is the difference between this and like a Final Fantasy VIII then, where you're going into your regular encounters? If you were to take away the active time battle, what would be the difference mechanically?
Are those so engaging because of simply the active time system, or are the enemies better? And it's not like you can't exploit weaknesses in those games.
Mm-hmm. Like, hey, this character does max damage against this enemy type. Once you figure that out, you're just attacking with that character for that enemy type.
If it's a dungeon, you're going to see that enemy 5, 6, 7 times, so you always know, bring out this person.
Enemy types and boss gimmicks. There simply isn't enough variety for 10 to keep up, so it always devolves into enemy types of wolf, use a speedy guy. A flying guy, use a guy with a lot of accuracy points.
Okay, so we can't attack flying guys with swords guys. How is that not depth?
Yeah.
Even if you say the depth is shallow, even if you say you don't enjoy the depth to the game.
You can't say there's no depth.
And what is the difference between in Final Fantasy IX?
He has not described
show the difference.
What it was, other than the fact of the active time battle system.
Would this same system be okay if there was an active time battle?
You know, Lulu, it's her black attack is 3 down, and then this enemy is weak against lightning, and lightning is 3 down from the black attack. So as soon as that comes up, down, 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 X, down, 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 X. And then you've gotten what you need. It's not as frantic as it makes it seem if you know what you're doing and what the enemy is up or weak against.
Accuracy points. An armored guy, use a guy that has a piercing effect on his weapon. Have elemental values, use whatever magic spell / elemental weapon that counters that element. If your party doesn't have what's needed for battle, you can change out a party member for another without losing a turn. Why do I not lose a turn doing this? Is this just a free-for-all? Do the monsters want
I would
to
have
die?
preferred
Any
if
sort of
you lost
tension
a
is
turn.
removed from the encounters when you give me so much.
That happens in I think Atelier, Eska, and Logi, where you've got your back row and your front row, and if you switch them out, or it might even be Atelier Ryza, whatever it is. Once you switch a person out, you can switch them out with an attack, and you keep your turn. But it takes like MP or special points.
But a raw tag.
Yes, you lose your turn.
When you give me so much freedom. The ATB system gave you a ton of choices as well, but your choices hold.
But isn't freedom what people praise about Final Fantasy VII and the materia system?
What did you say about this? This gave you freedom.
Yeah. It's alright, let's just go back.
Is this just a free-for-all? Do the monsters want to die? Any sort of tension is removed from the encounters when you give me so much freedom. The ATB system gave you a ton of choices as well, but your choices hold more water in the previous 6 games because it wasn't always clear when the enemy's turn was up. Also, quick side point, there's nothing...
When the enemy's turn was up, you are hitting your button!
Yeah, you're just hitting your buttons. What's there to be concerned about for the enemy? If you know that the enemy's turn is coming, would you take a different action? You should know that inherently, this enemy attacks every 8 seconds or so. Or when this character fills up halfway after I do an attack, the enemy has already attacked me. So I know that when this character is halfway, the enemy's about to attack. There's a way to intuit that as well.
Side point, there's nothing fun, satisfying, or challenging about a first encounter with a monster and you instantly being able to suss out how to deal with them just from their enemy type. Oh wow, an ice flame. Gee golly wish, I sure wonder what he's weak to. The egg list, while a brilliant idea, doesn't hold any meaning outside of boss encounters since...
What's that weak to?
Piercing armor. It's a big guy. The big guy!
eating outside of boss encounters, since most encounters end within the first turn due to weakness exploitation. There does exist stronger monsters that have HP going up to the thousands early on, but those are usually rarer to find and they only appear alone, but I will give them props for making fights last longer than one round. They also might even kill a party member from time to time, which would mean something, but as healing items are now plentiful and easy to obtain, it's rarely an issue. You can always stock up on a ridiculous amount of potions and phoenix downs.
You could always do that if you've got the money. It sounds like you're not a fan of Final Fantasy to begin with.
I would have, again, if he's going to make those comparisons, he goes, this is now plentiful. In other games, is it not plentiful?
We'd have to see a scarce game. Here's the first 2 hours. After 2 hours of playing this game, here's what I had in my inventory for Final Fantasy X. Here's what I had for my inventory for Final Fantasy 8. Here's the money comparison.
Midpoint of the game, I have 8 X potions in Final Fantasy X, and I have 2 high potions in Final Fantasy 6.
Ridiculous amount of potions and phoenix downs, because equipment doesn't play a big role anymore. Remember saving up big bucks so you could deck out your guys with the best shit? Yeah, that isn't a thing anymore. Equipment affects your character with resistances and or minute buffs. These come in the form of individual abilities that take up slots on your given weapon or armor. The most common one is based on the percentages of your current stats, which works in tune with the progression system. The problem is you'll often find your inventory clogged with the same equipment due to generous drop rates or treasure chests. And since characters have specific equipment types, it's a chore to manage. It's unrealized.
No, just sell them. Sort them and sell them. And then you get money. That's not a chore. You get a thing, and then you unload that thing.
It's unrealized because the percentage buffs don't matter in the slightest the entire game. I'm sorry, but it just blows my fucking mind that they made a Final Fantasy where finding new equipment on the field is an annoyance rather than a pleasant surprise.
Why does it not matter in the slightest if it increases things by a percentage?
As you get stronger, the buff gets stronger. If your attack is 100 and by 10%, that's 110. It
at least matters in some degree.
It's not like it doesn't matter.
Get a weapon for Tidus early on called Brotherhood that raises your strength by 5%, which means dick all when your strength point starts at 15 and he's at about 17 or 18 when he gets that sword. So while
yes, that's an increase. Number go up. He is stronger. If there's an enemy that would die at 200 and all he could do before is 175, now with the sword he can do 200. He can take that out in one hit.
That sword. So while 5% sounds like...
Would he prefer like a 15-point increase?
If it sounds very much like he's not a fan of early game. Because the stats are too low, you've got too much money and equipment and potions to deal with all the early game stuff, blah, 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 blah. It sounds like he really hates the early game. But I don't know what the early game of the other Final Fantasy were that he enjoyed. And he's not showcasing those things to show a comparison. He's just going, it's the stinky poo here.
And again... would he prefer a 15-point increase on an already what he calls easy game?
It gives Tidus 1+ strength at the start of the game.
So what would be the difference if you found a sword that gave you +1 strength?
What would you prefer? Later you can take that sword, well not that sword, but other swords and just go, I want this to just be a fire sword. Or a silent sword.
At the start of the game doesn't really mean that much, and the weapons you can get from there on are technically better, but they more or less do the same in terms of strength options, but may have different elemental stuff too.
Isn't that what every equipment does? This one does +2 charisma, this one does +7 charisma.
You went through a whole lot of stuff that were not simply strength buffs. Go back.
Distill, strength, poison touch, no AP and double drive, overdrive, fire strike, stone touch, and sensor. And we're done.
mean that much, and the weapons you can get from there on are technically better, but they more or less do the same in terms of strength options, but may have different elemental stuff to them. Regardless, your stat points won't ever reach a high enough point for the percentage buffs to matter. I beat the game with each character having their primary stat around 50 to 60, while the other stats averaged at around the late 20s to 30s. The percentage buffs don't mean a thing around that number, especially when you have the ultimate weapon.
It does mean a thing. It means a increase of 5%. Yes. Again, if you feel personally that that's negligible, you could say that. But it does mean something. And I understand we're doing a lot of semantic stuff, but we are very say the words you mean people.
And also, you can add 5% and then 10% to weapons if you want, and that's 15%. That's a higher number. You can also add 5, 10, 15, and 3. No, it's 5, 10, and 3. So that's 18%.
Can exceed quadruple 9 hit points, or you get better.
Yes, that's in-game stuff. That is the very in-game stuff, where you won't need that stuff because your strength is already high enough. This is go through the game. Hey, I found a 10% magic thing. Lulu's now better. Late in-game, no, that does not matter. But if you're talking about in-game stuff mattering, of course you're going to get the best weapons. And that's not going to be a 10% thing.
9 hit points, or you get better end-game abilities on your armors like Auto Protect and Auto Shell, which trivializes your defense points even further.
Pause. Auto Protect and Auto Shell, those are grayed out, which means you don't have the abilities to do that.
Defense points even further. The equipment that slightly mattered was elemental based, because elemental affinity plays a big role in the combat. Some elemental buffs can be downright game breaking. For example, by putting Stone Touch on your weapon, you have a chance of insta-killing your enemy when attacking. I promised myself not to rely on it this playthrough.
But you said most enemies can be taken out by one hit anyway.
Not to rely on it this playthrough because it's so broken. Other equipment that the game values highly are the ones that have.
Why? I don't want to read this.
You know what's up.
Where's the jokes? Like, you exclusively used it upon entering the Calm Lands because you had enough of this game's e-combat.
Why would you say that you didn't do it then? Why would you call yourself out for actually doing it? Is this a joke?
We're 8 minutes in, and you remember the description saying I filled it with joke.
There was an explosion in the beginning that was comedic in nature.
There we go.
Other equipment that the game values highly are the ones that have empty slots. You can customize these to your own liking, but the resources required to do that are always too excessive and makes an already easy game even easier.
But you just said that you can just add Auto Protect and Auto Shell. So now you can't because it's scarce? It can't be both plentiful and makes the game easy, but also scarce and bush.
I wonder if he ever died playing Final Fantasy X. Because he said it's too easy. So I would assume that every single playthrough he's ever done, he does not have a single death. Which I honestly just do not believe.
Especially with Unaleska, where she would just... If you're not a zombie, you need to know how to do that fight the first time. Because she can cast instant death if you're not a zombie. If you're a zombie, it'll just wash over you. But me being me, because she was zombieing you and then healing you, I'm like, oh, let me just cure everybody who's zombie. And then as soon as she entered her third phase, it was just like instant death to everybody. I'm like, what? That's some bullshit. Let me try that again. Tried it again. Same thing happened. I'm like, what the is going on? And I kept everybody a zombie. I was like, oh, she was... That's what happened.
Why would it take you 3 times?
Because I'm stupid. Because I'm just like, oh, it's something I'm doing. Let me cast Shell on everybody. Maybe it's just like a percentage-based luck thing, and I just... Because, you know, they do some instant death stuff where they just... And then it's just, oh, I thought there's a bad roll of the dice and everybody just died. I'm like, okay.
Let me get a better roll.
It won't happen again.
Already easy game, even easier. You can use your common shit to make buffs too, but it's like plus 3% strength magic defense, which means nothing. So it's a feature I never used, and as a matter of fact, I didn't need to use to beat the game. Summons aren't worth shit either. They aren't screen wipes that have animations going on forever like they were in other FFs.
Pause. They're not screen wipes, so you want it to be even easier when you just said it was an easy game. Number one. Number two, they have long animations, he said.
They don't have long animations that wipe out the board. Summons in the old games were more special as opposed to, you know, a summoner using it as her main attack force.
They do have long animations.
But it's not like... I can't remember what it is, but it's like a 40-second animation.
That's too long.
People love it.
Why? Bunch of nerds.
They were in other FFs. Instead, they're their own subset of fighters, which is a cool idea in theory. You can always bring them out with Yuta at no consequence, but they have way fewer opportunities to attack. The Aeon stats aren't raised by usage. Instead, their stats increase along with units. And there's also a way to upgrade the stats of your Aeons manually called Aeon Soul, which you get almost at the end of the game. With this ability, you can use a set amount of resources to raise 1 point. But the amount needed to be used can be really excessive depending on what you want to upgrade.
Pause. Okay, but you get so many power spheres that if you fight 3 or 4 times, that's going to be back up to 99. Maybe not 99, maybe not 3 or 4 battles, but a couple of battles and it's back up. As you're grinding, it passively comes back.
Depending on what you want to upgrade. It feels like this mechanic was made to counter the point that you'd always have 99 spheres on hand for every category. At the end of the day, this doesn't matter.
It could just be that you want to min-max a certain Aeon. As you do, this is a quick way to just buff somebody. We don't know exactly what the reason was.
At the end of the day, this doesn't matter much because you're not gonna pull out your Aeons for a Lizard, Wolf, Elemental, Flan, or any of the other
I did. When Lulu was out of MP and I had to fight an ice thing
that was just eating everybody's attacks,
I had a fire thing.
The other smaller mobs. The Aeons are designed to be what you use against the larger enemies that you can encounter. I'm saying this because the game shows this early on by the introduction, but even using them for that takes more time than I'm willing to take on encounters. Because my free party members can always do more damage faster than one of my Aeons.
Sure, but if the enemy is about to do a big attack and your party can't take it, you switch in an Aeon, they take the attack, they live, they
depth.
That's easy game. Yeah, no, there's plenty of reasons to summon Aeons.
Always do more damage faster than one of my Aeons, with the exception of Anima. Anima breaks the game, but she's optional for a reason.
Anima.
I'll be nice and say that it's hard for any turn-based RPG with random encounters to not feel like a trudge at times, but usually for me that comes from a grind session. If the game's still making me bored even when I'm supposedly progressing, then what? And I think this could have...
Go back.
So what? Why? How far am I going?
Just back a little bit.
Oops, I went up.
You went forward.
I went forward.
You fool.
Like a
what are you doing? You're ruining everything.
I'm sorry. I done did.
So I guess I ruined everything by asking you to go back.
Yes. Yeah, we'll blame you for this one. What do we need?
Okay, I wanted to see what the health was like because he's talking about it's easy and Yuno was about to die.
I'm supposedly progressing, then what? And I think this could have been fixed easily because, well, okay, do you really need 6 different Ahriman spanning the entire game? Really? And it doesn't stop there. Look at the entire bestiary. Almost every enemy in this game has a variation. And not just 2 or 3, but 4 to 6 different variations of the same goddamn enemy type. You know how many enemies in the PSX trilogy had variations? I can tell you one thing, the number isn't as high as it is in 10. I counted the entire bestiary of all 3 games and came to about the 20 range with a majority coming from 7. Thing is, it was only 2 or 3 variations of enemies. 10 has 150 plus enemies, and around 50 of them are original. This is without even counting this.
Did he say how many were original in the other ones?
I don't think he did. I personally don't care.
I personally don't care. I will fight in Jack Frost in every Shin Megami game and Pyro Jack, and I truly don't care.
It doesn't really matter.
Pixie, hi Pixie. Whatever.
Would it matter if it was a different flying thing?
Yeah, completely
that just
different.
wasn't an eye? That you knew that you would just have to send Waka in?
If we had a bat, a bird, an eye.
Yeah, I personally do not care.
If you care, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just, I personally don't.
Of them are original. This is without even counting the stupid Monster Arena versions of these enemies, which is disappointing on its own that the strongest monsters in the game are also reskinned.
Why is it stupid? Don't just say that it's stupid. Explain that it's stupid.
He wanted new original monsters for these.
It's an optional dungeon.
Original, new for these.
Strongest monsters in the game are also reskins. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like one does it and the other doesn't, but they were moving away from it after 6. 7 has 220 plus enemies with around 80 reskins or so. 8 has a smaller number of 60 plus enemies and around 4 reskins. And 9 has 100 plus enemies with 3 reskins.
There we go.
The thing
That's
is,
what I wanted.
I don't even mind reskins as long as there isn't a reliance on them. 9 had 1 flan, not 6. Remember how cute the Mandragora was? Remember that? Well, fuck you, cause now it's an Ochu. In 10, most of the cool and original enemies are either kept away towards the end or the super boss dungeon, and that's a terrible balance.
What's
and
cool and original about that? Is it just that it's the one big spiky turtle? I think there's only 2 of those big armor guys in the game. That's the problem with just saying that something is good or bad or cool and just showing it. I don't know what you mean.
Terrible balance. And I'm sorry, but I could just keep on going. Since, yeah, okay, 6 different Arimans doesn't sound like that big of a problem. But that's without counting the bees and imps that require the exact same tactics to kill as the Arimans. Or the wolf and lizards. Or the drakes and the helms. Or
Are you counting wolf and lizard? Or is he might be separating them and I might just be confused.
the drakes and the helms, or the flans and the elementals. It's lazy enemy progression and there's nothing else to it.
I have no problem with common monster types.
Again, if you want to feel like it's lazy, that's fine.
Monster types, this wouldn't be a big issue. It feels patronizing to me when a game has to rely on reusing its elements. The battle director talks about his favorite thing in Final Fantasy games being monsters like the bombs, where you had a different way of dealing with them than the other enemies. Where's this thought applied to the rest of the game? Where's Hell House?
But there is. There's enemies, there's that big robot enemy that'll just kick you away and then one of your party is just gone for the rest of it. There's enemies in the back where only Waka or magic users can hit them until the front line is gone.
As you said, there's the plant or whatever
the
where
big,
you hit it and it does a status element type thing.
There's the worm. There's that sphinx thing. Not the sphinx thing. There's that sarcophagus thing where if you hit it, it's going to petrify people. There's a bunch of them. Again, I didn't personally feel the fatigue of reused monsters and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna yell at you if you did. I'd like to get into some story stuff, but I understand that battle is important.
30 minutes in, buddy.
I know. I saw it.
Rest of the game. Where's Hell House? I want to fucking fight a Hell House. Okay, gotta say something nice about the combat for once. It's at least over quickly? No, I mean that in a good way. Kinda. Oh shit! Transitioning from 9 to 10, where the former's combat moved at a snail's pace due to the overly bloated introductions to the field and even slower reactions to any action input. Seriously, if your character enters a trance during an encounter, you'll be there all night. I was pleasantly surprised by how much faster battles were, but that isn't a good thing. The enemy encounters are the crux of any turn-based RPG. They're usually what you'll be spending a majority of your time playing with. As I said earlier, it's hard to keep them interesting, but if I want most of them to just end already, there's something wrong. Overall, I still prefer the quickness of 10's encounters compared to 9's, but it ties into my point about Final Fantasy X. 10, if not the start, was definitely at fault for popularizing dumbed-down Japanese game design philosophies that get a lot of hate. Mainly how much it feels like you're being constantly guided through the game with not much digressing from the main objective.
As opposed to the other Final Fantasy games? And I guess side quests, maybe he's talking about? But so many JRPGs after this has side quests, so I can't imagine that's what he means.
There were side objectives to do here. Once you get the airship, even though that's like 2/3 of the way through the game. But there's always Blitzball. Not too much to do, but you can search for the Albed primaries.
No, but that's all optional content as opposed to side missions, which would be you're on the path, you're just going through the story as opposed to
retrieve this leaf or something
from the main objective. That being said, linearity isn't an inherently bad way to make a game. Plenty of my favorite...
But can you mention the other Final Fantasies and how they weren't linear? Please.
Plenty of my favorites utilize the style, but they get away with it because the rest of the project feels focused in what it wants to be. 10 isn't focused.
I don't know what this means.
I also don't know what this means.
They feel focused and 10 doesn't.
That's the problem with comparing it. When your premise is, I'm going to compare this to other things. Mm-hmm. When you don't mention what the other things are doing well enough.
Yes.
10 isn't focused. It's a fucking mess that's been pumped full of junk without anyone stopping to see when enough was enough.
Cool.
This all comes down to how the rest of the game plays out.
No explanation of how it's not focused.
Cool.
Combat, the story, the level design, minigames, ideas used 1 or 2 times, even the level progression system, the sphere grid. I'll be going through each of my problems with these, starting with the grid.
Oh, you can go now. You can go.
Yeah.
You give me the mouse.
In Final Fantasy X, level ups raise your sphere level. With these, you can go into a specific character's sphere grid and use their levels to move that individual around to the different nodes on the grid. When you're next to a node, you can choose the corresponding skills you beat out of a wildebeest a few minutes ago, and bada bing, bada boom, your character is a tiny bit stronger now in the given stat. Each character has their own segment, but the entire grid can be accessed by everyone as long as you have the necessary spheres to unlock paths. This seems to be a take on a more incremental progression system, which according to a Brady Game Strategy Guide interview that I can't find for the life of me, is what Kitase originally intended. I bought it. Look, it says it right there. Well, that wasn't a waste of money at all. Every character's got a predetermined path that they have to go through at first to power up, with later opportunities to branch out to other characters' abilities. So a black mage can get white mage abilities, or a white mage can go for strength upgrades.
This is literally materia, and this is why I hate this thing.
No, you're wrong.
Just give me a black mage that does black mage.
And you can, but in-game stuff, you can go on over to Yuna's, and she can get more magic.
And go for strength upgrades. A few things I hate off the bat is how it removes the element of surprise. Here you can always see what's next on the menu, and branching out is extremely limited and won't be properly...
Oh, I do not care about, hey, I leveled up and it gave me +3 defense instead of +3 strength. Really don't care about that.
I don't care about seeing what's coming up next. I actually like that, because I'm like, Waka's about to get stronger. Oh, look at this. I remember going, where the is Mug for Riku? Because she's just doing nothing. I'm like, okay, it's 8 levels above.
Mm-hmm. So you know where to...
Yeah. There's benefits and negatives to both the surprise and the expectations of, I know exactly what's coming from. I don't necessarily believe that the surprise in and of itself is better.
And I would hope he would present an argument why he at least feels this better. As opposed to... Okay, never mind.
Branching out is extremely limited and won't be properly utilized unless you go for post-game stuff. Getting to another grid path, you'd sometimes need level 3 or 4 lock spheres, which you don't get well until 2/3 into the game. They're extremely scarce, and by then, it would make more sense to just stay on the current path and get the best abilities out of that. It's just gonna take...
No, or you can backtrack and go, I want that, and then you're not wasting, but you're using your S levels to go back. It's like 4, if you go back, it's like 4 or 5 per one that you're backtracking.
I wouldn't know.
You pieces.
I wouldn't know.
You pieces. You're not playing the game right. How dare ye?
I beat that bit, so I must be doing something right.
But yeah,
just call me Batman.
That's what it is. You can go, I have a teleport sphere and I can go back to this place now that I have a level 3 and get this flare or whatever. Or you can continue down the path and go, well, I'll get it later, or I'll loop back around, or whatever. That's a choice that you can make.
It's just gonna take more time for you to reap the benefits of a new path if you train a strength-oriented player to suddenly go for magic abilities, assuming it's an attack mage. There are special spheres that allow you to jump around the board in all sorts of ways, but these are even fewer and farther between.
As well they should be.
Yeah, would you like them to be abundant, where you could just go into anything?
Whenever you want?
Super Magic Auron?
Speedster Auron, just hitting every
speed. No! Now, early I did get a skill thing. I'm like, I'm giving Waka Mug. Cause Waka's always in my team, and now I can just always steal. Terrible. It was fun.
Farther between. You can completely miss some if you don't pay attention to where you're going, don't see a treasure chest, or don't do optional side quests.
Good! If you won't be rewarded for not doing things.
You won't have this super powerful thing that can help you a lot if you don't do a bunch of side stuff or explore the world.
You wanted them to just give it to you to make an already easy game easier? We always have to remember that when he's talking about, I don't get to do what I want to make my character stronger or whatever.
But it's too much freedom, so I needed restrictions. He's complaining about freedoms and restrictions.
Or don't do optional side quests. The standard grid doesn't require thinking because it gives you everything your specific character can learn from the get-go.
It does require thinking. Do you go back? That path right up there where there's 3 magic things. Do you want Waka to have more magical defense? Because I can imagine those are just regular magic, because the only magic thing that he has is Drain and Osmosis. And I don't think that those are affected by magic, but they might be. You might get more MP from Osmosis if you have more magic. But is that worth it? To go up there 2 slots and then back 1. So that's 3 slots that you're wasting for these magical things and a little bit of MP and HP. Is that worth it? That is a choice. You can't say that that's not a choice.
Learn from the get-go. All you have to do is just follow the line of stat upgrades and new abilities. The deviations and paths are the only choices you realistically have to make in the main game progression.
That was not quotation mark.
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah, well, quotation marks are hard to
They're really not.
That could just be the Austin Powers fingers that he's doing just to indicate.
Then they would need to close.
Why not just do the clip? Those are just equal signs.
Game progression, and they only serve to waste your time when you have to move back a couple of spaces.
That's not wasting your time. You're choosing to
engage with that area, and then now
at the cost of your S levels,
and now you have to move back because that's what you chose to do.
These problems, however, only pertain to the standard grid. Square added an expert grid for the PAL version of the game, which is included in the remaster. The expert grid alleviates many of the problems I had with the game's standard grid, yet it also adds a few on top. Everyone still got designated paths to follow so they can get their normal stuff, but with more freedom to choose wherever you want to go since everyone starts in the middle. And placement of lock spheres is not nearly as isolated.
I did not do
The catch
this,
is that a number of statistical upgrades have been lessened, which means you'll be feeling weaker at the start than you did going forward.
I personally don't care about this because it is an optional thing that it's an expert thing. This seems like New Game Plus. I want to have fun making a monster, who's just punching mobs out She's the one that's taking the armor dude out.
At the start than you did going through the normal grid. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, by the way, because 10 is so easy it makes me fall asleep. But overall it doesn't help much, since going through 2 to 3 empty nodes, which you'll do a lot through the expert grid, really solidified that the system isn't friendly towards not wasting your time. For some levels you get nothing, zilch, which makes me question the value of S.
Do you know that in a lot of RPGs, when you level up, all you get is stats and you get nothing else? You don't get a new skill. You don't get a new armor break move or something. You get nothing but your base level stats improved slightly.
And again, this seems like it's more for the expert people. So is it front loaded with less stuff in the beginning and then back loaded with more at the end?
I question the value of S levels when I'm constantly throwing them away. It was still a nice gesture and it certainly helped lessen the fuckage the original grid protruded, but a tweak like this can't fix a system that doesn't make me feel good about progressing or powering up the fight against the man. It removed the mystery and excitement of getting stronger. And
there we again with this mystery nonsense. Everybody is not engaged with the mystery of what's going to happen when you level up. Some people want to be able to choose the ways in which they level up. Hey, you leveled up, you got 5 skill points. Where do you want to put them? As opposed to, we're going to give you 3 attack, 1 defense, 1 magic.
Or just seeing, hey, I got 8 slots before I get Dark Buster. And Dark Buster is really cool.
You know what I do now? I look up when I'm getting a thing.
I look up when I'm getting a thing a lot.
And it's like, if the game just told me, hey, in 3 levels, you're going to get the thing, I'd be like, okay, at least I'm going to get the thing in 3 levels.
And again, it's not a right or wrong way to do things, but I prefer to be like, when the is on gonna get an attack that attacks everyone.
Maragi.
I want to attack everybody. In 8 levels, she's gonna be in my party for a second. I keep saying 8 a lot.
Hey, why don't you play Persona 5 Tactica then?
I will when I get some time. But I'm handcuffed by these pieces.
Dude, they're killing us. We gotta do this over 2 weeks. We got the Lily video on Saturday. What are we doing?
But you said everything from Tactica's.
Basically everything from Tactica attacks an area.
Oh, that's not.
And there's no elemental weaknesses.
That seems.
It's if you or your opponent are out of cover, that's when you get criticaled and down. But if you're in cover, you don't get criticaled and down.
Don't like that.
It's
they did a really good job with Scramble though. They're branching out too much.
They got their finger in too many pies.
They got big nuts going, we can do anything. How about a fighting game? Anything.
Of getting stronger, and the individuality each character has when you make every ability accessible. When each character
when you use the thing that makes every ability accessible, you're gonna get every ability. Now late game, again, it's late game. This is only for the super hardcores who want to 100% everything. So you're either gonna get your choices are, you can get an Orin that can do 1,000,000 damage, or you can get an Orin that can also do a Thunder.
But may not be able to do 1,000,000 damage. Might do 700,000 damage.
It's gonna be strong either way, so I don't see what the issue is late game of having your choices be unlimited.
Depending on what you do, there's going to be the chance that none of your playthroughs are the exact same. Because you can always level up a character in a different way.
You can always not go to that left path with those 2 magic things and that accuracy. You can always find a little MP thing that goes, okay, put this on an empty node, activate it, and you get 40 MP for this person. You can always find that and give it to another person. Or never find it.
When each character is a jack of all trades, you lose out on what makes a progress.
That's f***ing materia. You can't be saying that Final Fantasy VII is one of the best games in the Final Fantasy series when that is literally materia.
Ain't got no dog in this fight.
out on what makes a progression system that is, well, progressive. This is more of a personal opinion on the matter, but it just doesn't feel.
Everything is a personal opinion on this matter, except when you're talking about they said this in an interview. That is objective fact that they said the thing.
Do you know Phil said the phrase, "in my subjective opinion"? Press play.
There's no way.
Press play.
But it just doesn't feel good. I don't feel like I'm getting stronger using the sphere grip. I just feel like a sheep following stupid lines.
How do you not feel like you're getting stronger when you began this? When you began the story at a 15 strength and ended it at a 50? You can't say you factually didn't get stronger. I don't know what you mean by you don't feel like you're getting stronger when you go into it and just go, I'm going here and I'm getting a +4 strength. What does it mean to feel to get stronger?
Again, he brought up the other Final Fantasy games. I wish he would go, unlike in Final Fantasy IV, where this happens and now it feels like it was a big burst of strength from the characters and blah, 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 and you feel like you progressed enough. I truly don't know what he means.
Make it a Final Fantasy X sucks, or Final Fantasy X sucks because the other games are better. Don't do half and half.
Like a sheep following stupid lines that lead to stat boosts and abilities like I did with the Crystarium of 13. While S levels are given out like candy, you still only get one every few battles.
They're not given out like candy. They're given out when you level up. And you have to fight to level up. You can go 2 or 3 battles without leveling up anything.
Candy, you still only get one every few battles or so for the entire game, so they're not something that should feel like you're throwing away.
How can it both be given out like candy and also not given out
nearly enough?
Like, come on, dude.
Like you're throwing away. I would have liked them to implement a faster method that doesn't require the tracing. Or better yet, give me some actual choices and forks in the road that lead down to either defense, offense, magic, etc. So that it...
So, essentially, you want a path that's just magic as opposed to a path that's the white mage path. What's the difference?
Yeah.
This path is for the black mage. Why couldn't it be for speed?
What benefits is there of a defense path? What can Auron do with a million defense but a 15 attack? He's just gonna be standing there doing nothing.
Offense, magic, etc. so that it feels justified to split paths. Make the grid feel more ultimate so that the characters you end up with are more specific, like you were leading on in the beginning of the game when you introduced the enemy type.
They are specific, but yes, you can go off that path so they're less specific.
In the end game, let's look at it in the world. Once they've got the experience, once they've been traveling with each other enough, hey, Auron learns how to do magic from Lulu. If you want to look at it in the world stuff, but they gain that experience and thus they get stronger and can go off into other fields. I see nothing wrong with that.
You introduce the enemy types, that every party member has their strengths and their weaknesses, instead of a post-game where you have 3 all-around powerhouses with an entire spellbook shoved up their asses.
Post-game!
This is crazy.
But again, it would the other option is just a million hit per attack Auron. It's just those two.
Why would you pick anything but the strength path for Auron?
He's either gonna be God King Auron as Auron or God King Auron as Auron with the lightning. It's just gonna get stronger. And Titus is always going to have a bigger base speed than somebody like an Auron, because that's just his character. He comes in with that. Even if we plop down, no spear grid's going into it. He has a higher base speed. Mm-hmm. So he's always going to be a little bit faster than Auron. So they're not always going to be equal people.
Entire spellbook shoved up their asses. Or if you really wanted this grid to work, don't punish me for tracing back. I totally get it if the sphere grid didn't require me to use levels to go through paths I've already taken.
No, you have gone down this path. Now you must spend something to go back because you've chosen to go down this path.
If that's the case, there is no choice.
Yeah.
You would just go to every path and then go back freely once you've done that path.
Anything and everything. At the beginning, hey, here's a level 3 sphere. Here at the very beginning of Waka's journey. And then at the end of the journey, you don't need to spend anything to just go back there now that you've got a level 3 sphere. So you can just unlock it there, as opposed to either spending a teleport, a friend spear, or the 100 spear level that it's going to take to go back. No. That makes it too easy. There's no choice in that. Now, I need to, yes, I'm here, but I need to do 8-9 battles before I have enough S levels to get back to where I was because I wanted this magical defense or whatever.
No, now I could just go back. Anything I've unlocked, anything I've touched, I could just go back freely.
Serves as an annoyance and a waste of time to go in through these crevices to go back again. Now, when it comes to the rest of the game outside of its combat, 2 words to sum it up would be experimental and throwaway. The former is fine because it isn't a Final Fantasy if they don't try something new. Yet it's a different kettle of fish when something is experimental versus when something feels experimental.
I agree with whatever you said.
This is the first Final Fantasy on PlayStation 2, unless you count the bouncer, which if you do, then congratulations on being a genuine piece of shit. Many times throughout 10 they'll introduce something new you'll do for that little section, and then you'll never do it again. Which, okay, you're on.
Where else would you dodge lightning? How else could you incorporate that?
What's the problem with a section of the world having its own rules to keep you engaged with what's going on in that particular section and make it more memorable, as opposed to, hey, you dodged lightning for the first time, now 2 islands away, and then for the rest of the game you're also going to dodge lightning every now and again?
If all the Cloister of Trials had the same gimmick, wouldn't that get boring?
Which, okay, you're on a new console, so testing the waters is fine, and the series has never been exempt from doing this in the past either in the form of minigames. But not to this degree. Some come in the form of boss gimmicks, but most of them come from these Cloister of Trials sections.
Those aren't minigames, they're puzzles.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
You want to look at the Chocobo racing as like a mini game.
Yes. That's a game within a game. A mini game.
Or Blitzball.
This is a puzzle.
This is optional versus required.
Cloister of Trial sections. These are some of the most boring parts in the whole game. There are no monsters, there's no time limit, and there's nothing challenging or interesting about any of these sections.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah.
If you don't like puzzles, of course it's going to be boring or whatever. But if you enjoy puzzles, you enjoy thinking about what you need to do in order to progress.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally no issue here for me. Even if I'm personally not a fan of the implementation.
And you're wrong.
Any of these sections, you're just trying to find the right keyhole for these glowing testicles. There's an extra challenge that nets you an item, but the ends never justify the means.
No, they do, because you need all the destruction spheres in order to get anima easier. You can't go back in the post game without fighting the Dark Aeons. You can't do that if you're very weak. So you get these out the gate, and you can get anima right before the final fight. Did I? No. I was mad because I was just like, "Where anima? What I gotta do?" And it's just like
probably some destruction sphere, like 3. What?
It was just 1. And I'm like, I'm gonna go fight that Dark Aeon. Board wiped. Like, I guess no anima.
Justify the means. It's padding of the worst degree, because not only are they mindless, they don't have a logical place in the story.
They are mindful because you have to think about what you need to do. Because some things open other things, some things close other things.
Something burn down doors.
You have to think about where you need to place these things in order to progress.
ancient, legendary monsters used to kill a being of destruction that annihilates everything that he draws near are guarded by pillar-pushing Tetris jigsaw and escalator puzzles.
Yes,
and either way,
yes. Prove your worth by solving this puzzle. If you're not worthy of, if you don't have the patience and knowledge to solve this puzzle, the f is you doing here? Why are you on this pilgrimage?
If you're just some big monster beat stick, I'ma swing my sword at people, you're probably not gonna do well.
Later puzzles. And either way, these puzzles only have meaning for Tidus and crew going through them. What, is there some janitor that has to go through these temples and reset all the puzzles for the next summoner? It doesn't do a good job at selling the fact that the pilgrimage is a major tradition in the world. The pilgrimage instead feels like it was only designed for you to go through.
But we see people coming out and going into the trials. What are we supposed to follow them and just go, hey, how'd you solve this?
You to go through. Other ideas include battles where you can use trigger commands. These are mechanics specific for boss fights that'll give you the upper hand in some way. These range from a crane that can deal massive damage after powering it up, to talking. To moving around a grid to avoid these timed mines, to more talking. Look, I'm not asking for much here, but if you introduce a new idea, I expect you to use that idea in exciting ways. Some bosses don't even...
You are again conflating things you personally didn't enjoy with them not being exciting. What if it is exciting to a person? Are they wrong for feeling that?
How is it not exciting? You haven't explained that. You explained what it is, but not why it's not exciting.
Talk! How is that exciting?
Because now Tidus is stronger. Now, I'm not saying Tidus. It stinks. Now he's stronger. The star player of the Zenner Canades. The pronoun. He's stronger.
He's now boring.
Now Yuna has more magical defense. Now Jack is weaker if you talk to him. There are reasons to do the talk. You've introduced it as just talking, and you've explained things in such a way that if a person has not played Final Fantasy X,
in quite a while haven't played,
they will explain what you're talking about, how you're talking about how the battle system works and stuff like that. But just talking, that makes it seem like there's nothing that's happening with this. You explain the fact that there's a big crane that does big damage, but you just say talking. That's very disingenuous to leave out information like that when it's actively making your party stronger and it's giving character development within it. Well, not character development, character exploration. Mm-hmm. Like when you fight Seymour and Orin goes, even though he was not the man that I knew, you still killed my friend, and that ain't cool. And he gets buff and attack, I think. Doesn't matter. I don't know why I brought that part up. It changes nothing, but you still get that bit of Orin right there. You still get. I don't know what this was, but in the first fight with Seymour, Waka goes, Maester Seymour, we must stop this, and Seymour says nothing.
Oh, really?
He says nothing. But when Yuna talks, he says something. When Tidus talks, shut up, star player, he says something. But he doesn't for the person that's showing him respect like that. He still calls him Maester as he's actively like, I'm about to kill you. He doesn't say anything. And I've been thinking about, what the was that? It's poignant that he doesn't say anything. And that's a bit of what talk is.
But talk. Where's the big explosion? Where's the awesome minds?
I love Seymour.
I
forgot how much I liked him.
He's a piece of garbage.
Waka, when they're using the Machina, and Waka's like, Maester, this goes against the teaching.
Doing this.
And Seymour just goes, well, pretend you didn't see it. And Waka goes, that's not something a Maester would say. And Seymour goes, well, pretend I didn't say it. And he walks away. I'm like, why couldn't you just be just this dude? I'm just like, and then why are you still here, sir? Pause.
Yes, yeah, that was terrible.
Forgive me. I'm like, it's like,
once you know what happened.
Yes, he's like, I could send you. I'm not gonna. but I smell it on you. And they leave the crumbs of the Guado can smell the stink of the far plane. And he just goes, why are you still here, sir? Why are you? And it's only when they start getting up in his business. Because before that, he was just like, so Oren, what up, though? And then once he started getting in his business, like, you need to go. Not by it. Hey, he hit him with the feel was like, it ain't gonna be me, but you gonna get yours. I'm just saying, I smell it. What the actual...
These people probably not right in the head. Harming themselves, harming you.
And it's not going to be me. I'm cool. But somebody going to shoot up a school. And it's going to be your fault. Like, what? It's just whatever he needs to say to make these local farmers make them seem as irrational as possible.
And it's crazy. And I hate how much... Yeah, we're in the field talk section. I hate how much... He's like, hey, the Long Call podcast is falling apart just like I said it would. When he's acting like it's Keemstar's fault that it's falling apart. Because that was the whole thing. Yeah. I'm not going to go into... Because me, Boogie, and Wings can do our own podcast.
But it's not about...
It's Boogie's fault that it's being a piece of shit right now. It has nothing to do with King. But he's still Big Balls Phil. I was right.
He needs some kind of win. And this is all that he got.
This isn't even a win.
He sees it as a win. Because he has to.
But it's still going. It's still being productive. It's still getting views.
He calls the Law Call podcast or whatever it's called because they were too stupid. Then they lost the name and I don't care. It's like, you said all that and you quote unquote don't care? You can't say all this.
How do you know they lost the name, Phil, if you don't care? It's something you would have had to commit to memory. Even if one of your fans... Why, nobody talking in the chat, by the way.
Talk to me. Talk about me. Talk about the game.
Oh, did you not see that recent clip?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's just disgusting.
He doesn't even... I think I said this earlier in the episode. He doesn't care about being entertaining.
Yeah, no.
He's done... He is ready to coast. But he's not getting the money to allow him to coast.
A Pokemon can just sit back and do whatever.
You brokies eat my cookies.
But Phil is not allowed to because he doesn't have the money to do so.
If Phil was making $500,000 a year,
it would just he would go back to what he wanted to do, which was laying down on the couch and only getting up when he has something to say, which is what he called. I didn't have the in camera on, and that's what I used to do. It's like
he wants to go back. He would make the React channel the main channel,
so he can just nut at his.
So what they're saying is literally what they just said.
It's the worst.
They said it in 20 seconds, was taking me 3 minutes to say.
Yes, we need to get back to Phil because so much has happened.
Yo, and it's but you can say that if we spend 6 weeks away from Phil, you can go, so much has happened with Phil. It will never end for that man.
Yeah, in robbery story.
I got robbed for my reusable plastic grocery bag.
And some food and they just walked out the store.
You hadn't paid for it yet.
There was no robbery.
It was most likely some dude just like, oh, somebody left their cart here. Some employee. Let me restock all this
and move it. Anyway, there's a couple bags here. Whoops. He goes, I moved away for 2 minutes. I timed it. What? Then he goes, I walked all the way up and down the aisles looking for my cart. Okay, do you not think that as you're moving past one aisle, the other person with that cart is moving past at the same time, so you just sort of miss each other? You can't just be like, you've got eyes on all the stores No! As you're over there in the frozen food aisle, they could be going anywhere, because that's usually at the very, very end, and there is no forward or back, so they could be going...
Why didn't you take your cart with you?
Why? You know why? He had to front load the story with... The carts are always bad. And I had a bad cart and it wouldn't really push in my back. He had to front load the story with something that sounded innocuous.
His arms couldn't push what was in that cart anymore without working up a heavy sweat.
They were out of motorized scooters. And he had to get a normal person's cart.
That story should have just been, dude, it absolutely sucks. I lost 2 of my favorite recyclable garbage bags.
And lost like 30 minutes, but yeah, it's kind of weird that my cart just sort of disappeared. Whatever.
Dude, I had a weird story. For some reason, my cart was just gone when I got back.
Yeah, I went to the store and I'm like, yo, where's the cranberry sauce? Went up to aisle, came back and it was just gone. I don't know what happened to it. I'm missing like 2 bags, but I already bought a couple more. But it's just kind of weird.
Yeah. What happens on your trip sometimes?
45-minute story, including a talk about the government and liberals.
Dude, they push too hard in the other direction. With
cops and
this isn't political, but the liberals. But Black Lives Matter.
He needs to get capoeira kicked right in his teeth.
They'd fall out.
With that close up,
dude, that was the scariest.
It is thumbnail for years.
Oh yeah, no, he fucked up.
I don't know what he thought he was doing.
It's just like I'm an evil, greedy scammer that steals money from children that was used for years. Yeah, this is gonna be another one where it's just gonna be like, cat divorce, and it's just gonna be a close up of Phil with the red. It's gonna be like, where's the tips? And it's gonna be the evil eye.
No tips.
No tips. What? No tips. There's so many things. I'll look at detractors. I'm like, this is such an easy thing. Why has nobody done it? In the song Moving Out by Billy Joel, he goes, working too hard can give you a heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, why has nobody used that in a This Is How You Don't Play anywhere? Like, as soon as he starts laughing, I'm like, what are we doing? Phil talk over. We should probably stop once we get to the story section and save that. We're 20 minutes in. That's at like 33 minutes, so another 13. So we'd probably spend another hour or so on this max.
It is at 37.
37. Ooh, that's a little
presentation is at 33.
All right,
but that could be a little bit less. Let's go and hear a little bit about presentation.
Have absolutely no bearing on how humans normally move. They also reuse animation so much.
I don't care. It's a video game.
So,
we'll see how we feel.
Because the story part is going to be the bulk of where the issues come.
Oh, definitely. But it's only, I think it's like a 7-minute section.
Why did I close out of the video?
It might be a 17-minute section.
Absolutely.
There was somebody who was just playing it on I think it was a flute or a recorder or something on Twitter. And I'm just like,
oh my god,
yeah,
play that. Oh, is it that girl that plays all those songs? Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then at the very end, the You Yevon theme incorporates the hymn of the faith into it. It's just very
all right, music, like, Mark.
It's so. Every hymn of the faith sounds different for every sing. They didn't have to. The music is so good.
I hope there's not a section about the music.
So I forgot what I was looking for. How long the section is. It goes from 37 to 54. So
17 minutes. I think that's basically the end of the video anyway. The other stuff is odds and ends.
Yeah, the presentation is about right at the halfway point.
All right, we'll see how we feel once we hit presentation, and if we're still feeling, we can end presentation and then do story.
Is there a rock first? The music is so
Oh, there's definitely going to be a rock version because there's somebody I know that I use for our pre-streams that does nothing but like metal covers of instrumentals of songs. And I think they've done a Final Fantasy album. It may have just been Final Fantasy VII. I don't know. But I'm positive there's going to be some hard rock and metal versions of this.
Where's Shooter's theme?
He's still going, y'all. I want to hit play on the video.
You shan't! You're not allowed to!
But no, he must get off his music.
Listen to this! Listen to it! Listen!
Alright, episode 19. Just listen to it, alright, cool.
Oh, I can't take. I kind of understood what that nostalgia bullshit is.
With what? Oh, people loving that nostalgia.
Because
it really does bring you back.
Two Xanarchy opens and he just listened to my story. I was like, ooh!
It feels good.
Ooh, this is the thing, isn't it? Oh, it's a coming.
But I don't think you should keep chasing that feeling.
Oh, no.
Like, it's nice, I want to replay Final Fantasy. Oh, this takes me back. And that's the end of your feeling.
No,
like,
I can also say, this is good. This song is hitting. Seymour is that dude.
In exciting ways. Some bosses don't even have trigger commands, which begs the question why they were even a part of.
Hey, it looks like Yuna was knocked out. What an easy game.
Yeah, the game will be even easier with trigger commands. Do you want that?
Trigger commands, which begs the question why they were even a part of the game to begin with.
For the ones that it's part of, you like them, and then you go, well, let's use them for everybody or nobody.
And I think this sucks because there was an opportunity here to make some really dynamic battle scenarios.
They did.
Yeah.
You just didn't think it happened enough.
Every single one of them.
Dynamic battle scenarios. I was excited during the beginning of the game when the game had me attack a car for it to explode and kill all the enemies. I thought, man, I really hope more interesting shit like that happens, forcing me to think about my surroundings.
What did you do? You hit that thing. What do you mean forcing you to think about your surroundings? It's not like you cattled them into a certain place and then it exploded. It said, hey, hit that thing, and you hit that thing.
It would be different if there was a mechanic that like Tidus could use where you hold, let's just say L1, and you can look around the environment in first person mode and then hit X on an item, and that might open up a targeting if it's something that can be targeted for that.
Or if it was just like a big armored enemy, but his back was weak. So you could do that and then bam on his back.
Other game ideas that felt haphazardly thought up on the last minute came in the form of minigames. None of them are good. Chocobo racing is
haphazard thought up at the end of the. There's no evidence for that. It's not. What did he say? It doesn't feel good.
Let's go back. I think he did say that.
Game ideas that felt haphazardly thought up on the last minute came in the form of minigames. None of them are good.
None of them are good.
Is stiff, and the god-awful camera...
They're stiff. Not everybody can ride chocobos. They are a thing that takes effort. Tidus is a novice at it. I think that plays more into the world than plays into the design. But it could just be the design and it's designed poorly. I don't know. I'm saying it in terms of that.
Is stiff, and the god-awful camera kept jerking my controls around. Butterfly catching has terrible hit detection, and you're needed to mash X the entire time just to make sure you're catching.
No, you didn't need to mash X, because if you mash X, you would go run into the red butterflies, which would eat up your time, and that's not what you wanted to do.
To make sure you catch one. The game's crap depth perception doesn't help. I kinda like the cactuar hunting when you had to catch one, but it's still repetitive as shit to look for them in the desert since everywhere looks the same. And don't even get me started on lightning dodging. Oh god, the lightning dodging. In the Thunder Plains, the game expects you to press X the instant the flash appears, which is half a second worth of reaction time. You have to do this consecutive.
Grandpa, do it!
Hey, you did it. hey, you can do it.
Isn't this what you want? Keeping you on your toes while you... So you're looking for that flash, so your hands just hovering over the X waiting for the flash?
I don't want to lose this 5%, 10% HP, so I'm going to look for the flash. You can't mash X because they said that that's going to cause the lightning towards you, and that's not going to make it just mashing X. You're not going to dodge it that way. So you either eat that 5 or 10%, or you actively try to dodge it.
You have to do this consecutively 200 times to get an item for Lulu's ultimate weapon. Luckily, there's an exploit found where you can make the lightning appear consistently, but that's cheating and removes the original intent. And the original
Then don't do it. Then do it the way that it was intended to do, or don't do it.
Or don't do it. Don't
complain about an exploit. Don't use the exploit. This is too easy because of the exploit. Okay, do you want the thing? If you want the thing, get the thing and move on.
That's Phil going past the Mario Odyssey level where he's just doing the frogman glitch. So he can just go past. And then he's just going to complain, well, there was a glitch that just let me bypass the end.
Garbage. It's just a boring test of patience. I never did it because Lulu isn't even that useful in the late game. And it'd just fuel my hatred of this game even more. I'd be remiss not to mention Blitzball, the main minigame of 10. Blitzball is like water soccer where you have 5 guys and 1 goalie. When one of the 5 guys' burgers and fries comes near, it'll give you a chance to either try and go through him, pass the ball to another player, or shoot at the net. When you go for a breakthrough, the winner is determined by the opposition's attack versus your total amount of energy. Pass shots win depending on if you're
It's amazing how much he's explaining here, but then when it's not like other Final Fantasy games. There's a real lack of explanation. It's because this is explainable.
Yes,
there's nothing inherently that I need to extrapolate from what's going on screen right now.
No compare, no contrast. Throw the ball. There's this number go down.
Versus your total amount of energy. Pass shots win depending on if your pass points are higher than the opposition's defense points. And the team player catches the ball depending on if the pass points haven't retracted all the way down to 0. Shots win depending on if your shot points are higher than the goalie's catch points. If you do either pass or shoot when you're at an enemy, your points in the respective slots will be retracted by whatever the opposition has on you. This determines the outcome of whether a dude catches your ball or you score a goal. There's also percentage weight to each throw, which is pretty neat. Each stat gets a 50% boost in any direction based on random invisible numbers. If you shoot at the goal with 9 shot and the goalie has 12 catch, then there's still a low chance you score a goal. Keeps the variety of real sports without the need to design every individual scenario. Also, this is without touching on special shots and passes that can give players status.
Does he like this? Or?
I don't know. I don't know why he's explaining this so much.
It's a lot of explaining this particular section.
Like sleep and poison, which is an awesome idea ruined by a bad decision. Blitzball ruins itself before even starting by giving you the chance to get arguably the best move in the game called Jack Shot. When Tidus has Jack Shot, get as close to the goal as you can, and if 2 enemies corner you, you can use the Jack Shot to bypass them without your shot points getting retracted, making every game a trivial question of how quick you can manage to use Jack Shot. This causes every match.
But
HP.
There's also the fact that you have very low HP. It uses up a lot of HP in the beginning game. By the time you get enough HP that it's negligible that you have the Jack Shot, your team will also be better. So it's not a necessity to use it as much. There's also the fact of what if 3 people comes. Tidus has low endurance in the beginning, so you got to either eat that attack and hope that it passes, or you can use your Jack Shot and hope that the block is low enough that you can just burn through that. It's not as simple as get the ball to him and it's an instant score.
Drag on for way longer than
because it is 5 minutes into this game and you have 1 point.
Quick you can manage to use Jack Shot. This causes every match to drag on for way longer than they already do, since matches go on for 2 halves at 5 minutes.
How does this make it drag on as fast as possible? Get it to the person that you want to score. What makes it drag on? You gotta divert the people away from him? That's a tactic. That's not like making it last longer than it should. Because the time is going to flow as the time flows.
Also, I don't think it's 5 minutes real time.
No, it goes by a little bit faster, but it also, the encounters stop the time.
Yeah.
So with time moving faster and the encounters, it's probably about 5 minutes.
Based on real time, it's more like Mario time, where the timer goes down 2/3 of a second. But the time stops whenever you have to make a decision,
It's
so it adds
literally
up,
what we
if
just
not,
said.
makes it go on even longer. But we'll be nice and say
Potential.
10 minutes. Blitzball's biggest downfall is its AI. The AI is dumber than a sack of potatoes and very easily exploitable. Most of the time, matches will play out like this. I score a goal within the first minute of the match if the goalie is shit enough, and then I pass the ball to my defenders. Sometimes when I do this, the opposition plays defensively and goes back to their side to spin around and protect their half
Pause.
of the field.
Number one, you said if the goalie is crap enough. What if the goalie isn't crap enough? Number two,
This Titus had 39 HP when you were done with that. He's cooked.
I better keep my on the bench or I'm cooked. Number two, each person, you have formations, and even the opposing teams have formations. This is the base formation. This is baby level in first 5 Blitzball games.
Yeah.
And again, you're talking about using an exploit and going, why can I use this exploit?
Their side to spin around and protect their half of the field. Half of the time they can break out of this and go back on the offense, and the other half they won't. And if they do go on the offensive, it leads to...
I never knew about this exploit in my entire life.
I would also never use this.
I've been playing Final Fantasy X on and off for like 20 years.
And the team, if you do this, your team isn't going to grow, and then the team grows, your oppositions grow stronger and stronger. This isn't going to work.
And if they do go on the offensive, it leads to some stupid easy scoring potential, because the AI is dumb enough to bring their defenders with them. Look at this part here. They're all over on my side. I can easily just pass the ball to my left fielder, who is...
No, you can't, because then the one at the bottom right there, who looks very close to him already, is going to catch him.
I'm sorry that the game is not like set for you to just stand there. They're supposed to chase the ball. I'm sorry that they did not account for they're just going to stand over here in the corner for every single situation. How did you find this? Did you look this up? Easy ways to do Blitzball? Or did you just go?
Definitely, that's what happened.
Because he looked up the exploit for the Thunder as well. Or he knew about the exploit for the Thunder. I'm not going to say he looked it up.
Yeah.
But it's more than a coincidence that he knows of 2 different exploits to make the game easier.
Yeah, it's like us knowing about the missing go exploit and all that. We didn't look it up, but it's one of those things that just got passed around. Those things just got passed around, schoolyard stuff.
Pre-internet was weird.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember somebody in school talking about a nudality in Mortal Kombat. And as a kid, you're just like, whoa,
why wouldn't I try this?
there's a way to do this, and I'm going to find it.
There was talks of like, oh, you could run quick. If you run quick enough, Meryl won't have a shirt on in Metal Gear Solid. It's just like,
let's see.
Well, I don't know how fast I gotta be, but
let's test this hypothesis, sir.
Yeah, dude, I remember spending like a week in the summer just on Mortal Kombat 3, just learning every brutality and just writing it down one by one.
So
XX up B didn't work, so it's XX right now. XXA, that didn't work. XXX, alright, cool, that's what it is.
I was just online and forums from 16 years ago could just be like, yeah, there's this Blitzball exploit.
Just pass the ball to my left fielder, who is coincidentally Titus, and make him swim all the way over to the goal to sphere shot the bastard in. But that's just slower than waiting. I have matches where I score the goal and then leave the controller on my bed to go piss. I get more out of Blitzball by not playing it.
Because of your exploit, what are we doing here? You're literally ruining the fun of the game. Just to be like, oh, I get
this
more
isn't
points.
fun.
It's crazy.
I'm not doing the fun thing, and this isn't fun.
Strange game. The only winning move is not to play. How about a nice game of
Triple Triad.
Adding a mercy rule or removing jack shots / keeping it away as a final move to unlock would have made Blitzball so much better, as well as just giving you the Aurochs or a designated team to play with.
That person had grip gloves, which makes you grab things easier. Just put it like that.
And he had 11 catch to Tidus's 13 shot.
And he potentially also could have had super goalie, which raises his number by a random amount. Mm-hmm. I think it's telling that he did not show what happened there.
I'm just using the ultimate shot. Block.
Whoa.
Take it out. Cut that.
I couldn't take this part out or mine is cooked.
Or a designated team to play with instead of having to go
Go back. What did you say?
So much better, as well as just giving you the Aurochs or a designated team to play with instead of having to go scout for other players. That shit is just patience trying due to them being
You can keep the Aurochs, or you can go out and find better people.
Yeah, I like just talking. Because you're in a JRPG, you're just going to talk to random people anyway. Yeah. And now it's like,
Mash Square, hey, you Blitz?
Yeah, cool.
Hey, I know your home is getting blown up, but you Blitz, brother?
Hey, you don't want to take that off your mind?
A little bit of Blitz.
You know what I'm saying, bro?
I see you.
I got a whole team over here for you, bro.
You homie just blitzing. You blitzing with me?
Spira. And you never know if a specific guy is someone who gets really good later on as a left fielder, right fielder, goal.
Oh my god! Experimentation with the characters?
He doesn't want to know what's coming up in the sphere grid, but he wants to know who's the best in Blitzball.
Oh no.
Wait a hove in second.
We can't be doing both.
You can't just be like, okay, let me just find the best person in Sphere right here. In the first time that I go to him, oh, there he is. No, you signed this.
Hey, that you?
Hey, I'm the best. Oh, great!
I'm looking for the best.
I can do Jack Shot too. I can do Jack Shot too.
Yeah. I can do that and other stuff. Like,
no, you signed this month for 11 games, which is $1,100. You wasted your money because this month is a better attacker. So either they're getting benched or you just lost that money.
Just a bitchin' mother.
It's not a hard and fast. I want big numbers now. No, that guy sucks. He doesn't have the stats that I need. He doesn't have an attack that I've up. Or, as you have been doing, allegedly, seemingly, go to a guide and just go, who the best?
He literally bought the guide.
He bought the guide. You can't be like, I want to know who the best is out the gate. No.
And while also going, why do I know everything that's going to happen in the sphere grid? Why couldn't it just be...
It's lame to just go, you are the best. I'm happy that I wasted my money going, this buff is a brick. No more Ronzos. They're slow.
They got no attack.
They got HP. They got endurance. That's about it.
And go. He gonna run from one side of the field to the other, and that's all he useful for.
Getting lapped. He's so slow. No more Ronzos.
On as a left fielder, right fielder, goalie, defender, or attacker, unless you're following a guide or win enough to raise the scout level so you can see the stats.
Yeah, do better, progress, look at the people and know what's going to happen.
Seem to have a lot of work put into it, but it heavily outstays its welcome. And many games...
Dude, I play Blitzball probably more than the main game.
Hang on a second. I'm going to show you my PS Vita.
No.
It is going to actively be in the middle of a Blitzball.
No, it can't be. Well, I do believe it because Blitzball is... Give me a standalone Blitzball game online, please. I'm shocked that a modder hasn't built a game around Blitzball and just created a whole system for it. It is
actively
actively
in the middle. Here's the music. I was playing Blitzball before coming into this room to record. Am I a mark? Well, that's to be decided.
People like different things. People find enjoyment in different things.
I would prefer.
I loves me some Blitzball.
I would prefer to hear the arguments against it better formulated. There are ways that it can be improved.
Yes.
I would have liked something.
There's almost nothing in this world that can't be improved.
Yeah. I would have liked something like Waka will not be on a team with Albeds. And he gets a buff when going up against an Albed or something like that. Until he stops getting racist.
That mod. It doesn't do specifically that, but it does do characters have special traits.
I would have liked poaching, where you can just offer a character more money. Because I'm like, I want brother, and he's always on the Guado Glories, and he's busted. Come here, brother.
Be busted for me. Stop being busted for them.
I'm tired of fighting against you.
Come over to this side. Be busted, please.
That's what stuff like that where I'm like, yeah, this could be improved. And I don't want to use the excuse too much of this is a PS2 game of the times, the first like super big 3D game.
Yeah.
But you also must allow that leeway at least a little bit.
Yes, there has to be some semblance of we have to understand what this is. Oh, dude, I'm gonna be so sad when I stop snacking. It's coming soon, and I'm sad. I'm going double fist hard.
Oh my goodness.
Got to.
Heavily outstays its welcome, and many games can feel downright torturous when you have to play
Pause.
keep away.
It outstays its welcome. It's a side game that you don't need to play whatsoever. There is no welcome. You have to actively go into it. There's nothing that you gain from this thing that you cannot do elsewhere. I think you get a status reel or something like that. But there's no reason why you need to play this. You can go through the game the entire time without going. There's no outside of you get one, I think you get like a strength sphere and one other thing. There's no reason why you should win as Waka but I'm sitting there restarting.
Dude,
I'm sitting there going through that.
I hate, because I think I either looked it up or I once lost just to see what would happen. And it's the saddest thing in the world. It's just like I can't turn down Haru anymore. It's just never gonna happen if I play Persona 5, because otherwise I just gotta speed through that dialogue and look down at my phone until it's over, because I can't take her going, oh man, I'm super sad you turned me down. Why would I ever think?
Stop.
So yeah, I win every game for that.
Yeah, no, you get almost nothing for winning, but I'm not losing. It's a dumb game, but I'm like, I'm not doing this to my mans. I'm not letting them win.
They don't deserve it. He do. What are we doing here? Let's get it done.
Torturous when you have to play keep away with the ball for 10 minutes per game.
You don't have to do that.
If you don't mind carelessly grinding for hours on end for a post-game that becomes more repetitive than taxes, then join up for the Monster Arena side quests, where the game basically turns into fucking Pokemon. Oh, what's that? Fun? It's fucking barrels of fun! You have to catch every species in the game 10 times to get the chance to fight the strongest enemies in the game. Final Fantasy X's post-game.
But easy.
This is basic grinding that happens in any game, any JRPG. It's just a different way to grind. You can grind against the final super arena, or you can grind fighting against these and then coming here.
I should have been acknowledged for my demon time.
No, you get nothing.
You stop the grind.
Optional stuff it plays into. I'm ignoring you. It plays into your critique of the series and what you think about it, but this is optional stuff that you don't need to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Intense postgame seems to be a response to the Sphere Grid's excessiveness and how there's not enough challenge for the ones who eventually fill out their characters' grids.
I don't care about what it seems like. You've been citing interviews and stuff like that.
Cite an interview.
Cite an interview. Don't say it seems like this is what the reason why they're doing this.
It's crazy what he picks and chooses to be like, hey, this is what they actually said. This is what's actually happening. And then, doesn't it feel like it?
I don't care.
Fill out their characters' grids. So let's give them the most insane super boss hidden behind 8 already super hard bosses and see if there still isn't enough challenge. I find Penance to be an extremely exaggerated and time-consuming challenge, and it takes the fun out of the combat even more since the only way he doesn't one-shot you is if you find cheap ways to exploit the combat, either through auto abilities or getting Jojimbo to use Senmatsu, resulting in a one-hit KO. You can fight him legitimately, but that takes...
Oh, you can fight him legitimately. But you said the only way to not get one shot...
No. But he explained the only way not to do it is to do all of these other things.
What did he said? Use your Jimbo.
Before that, he said use auto stuff and all this other stuff.
The fun out of the combat even more since the only way he doesn't one-shot you is if you find cheap ways to exploit the combat, either through auto abilities or getting Jojimbo to use Senmatsu.
How is it cheap if it's something? This is literally the final boss. Mm-hmm. How is it cheap to use things that you've earned up until this point?
Because the fun. It's you went through the game, you progressed, you gained the weapons, the armor, whatever it is, that grants you these abilities, and then you're going, it's cheap to use these abilities against the purposefully hardest mother in the game.
How is it not cheap to use a weapon that exceeds 999? How is that not cheap? But auto abilities are cheap. It's, again, just something that you've earned and you're applying to your weapons. Why is one cheap, but the other not?
To use Senmatsu, resulting in a one-hit KO. You can fight him legitimately, but that takes like 40 minutes of routinely spamming quick hits with maxed out characters. No thanks. There's nothing you could say to me that would make me want to do that.
Then don't do it. It's an optional super boss.
An end game super boss.
Nobody's forcing you to do this.
This is a crazy amount of, I don't want to do an optional thing.
Stop making me do this. Nobody's making you. Dang, man, I hate this.
The game's so linear and all you do is go straight, but there's all this optional stuff that I don't want to do.
Okay.
So, what do you want out of this game again?
I want to do that. The level design isn't much better either. Again, we have to go back to our friend 13 to see that it's the same design ideas between the two. Big fucking long stretches of lines with the occasional treasure chests.
Sure.
Forks in the path do show up, but other than leading to unnecessary items or just wasting your time, the levels feel like corridors to...
I hate the poisoning of the well of just unnecessary items. What make them unnecessary? Here you could have shown, I open up a chest and I've got 5 high potions, and where you just like, yeah, I could buy 1 million of them with all the money that I have. I already have 999 matched out. But just saying unnecessary items, that's completely...
It makes it seem like...
When you've shown nothing of the sort. It seems like the people, at this point, the only people who are going to be... It's going to drop off if you're a Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah.
You're either going to skim or you're going to drop off. So at this point, it's only the people that's going to dislike it or want to be in it enough to hear his arguments. And if you dislike it enough, you're just going to accept that. Because you're going to be like, yeah, I did get that dumb in Targe or whatever.
The levels feel like corridors to the next cutscenes, and the game is littered with bad level design decisions. What's the point of this cave area between Seymour Flux and Sanderkand? You gotta run down one hallway, throw a ball at a glowing disco ball, then you have to go back, and now you can go up a staircase to repeat what you just did.
I don't know what the answer could be to what is the purpose of this cave.
Yeah, what is the purpose of basically anything? Like, what did I just play recently? Let's just pick a side mission in an RPG that takes you to, or Skyrim. What is the purpose of a cave in Skyrim? You go down this thing, and you go to the core of the thing, and you grab the thing, and you leave. And that's like 80% of the caves. What is the purpose of the caves?
That's not a very good critique of what is the purpose of this thing. Now, what is the purpose of these puzzles within it? We can talk about that.
Yes.
But the cave itself is dumb.
Repeat what you just did, but instead of a disco ball, it's these vaginas that you have to swim into. The adventure, the thrills. It's an attempt at making the simple idea of switches more interesting, but it isn't fun. This entire area feels like a...
Fun is a subjective thing. You personally didn't find it fun. What if somebody else does find it fun? You can't just say it's not fun.
Especially considering you didn't explain why it's not fun, simply said that it wasn't fun.
This entire area feels like a big load of padding due to the length of the corridors leading up to these switches. Even the boss at the end doesn't make sense. It has 30k health less than the previous boss you just fucking fought. 10 lacks.
But does it do other things that Seymour did not do that could? Does it have a board wipe? It's not simply a health thing.
Does it regenerate health?
You were Bleak in Black and White, and I think that's Curse, which doesn't allow you to use your overdrives, which takes away a lot of damage from somebody like a Waka with his attack slots, which does like 8 attacks straight up of full damage. So if you get that taken away, that's a big chunk of damage that you're missing that you could have used.
10 lacks a main hub to call its own. There's no traversing a big, mysterious, and adventurous map leading to the next city or dungeon, which in turn makes Spira feel less exciting, less connected.
What do you mean? It's not a... You want a very specific thing of a big map leading to someplace else, not a... We need to go down this set path as we need to go get the Aeons and the temples are over here. I don't know what you mean by it needs to be a big open thing that leads to...
I have never cared. So in Final Fantasy VII, there are sections where you're running around in a map to go to a town. And it's a big open area thing. In Legend of Dragoon, it is literally, once you hit the overworld, it is literally, hey, go straight or left. It's like a D&D map, and you just go to the thing. And I have never once thought, wow, I wish I could run around right now. Never once thought.
And again, this is not unlike in this game, Final Fantasy X does not do this. It is just, it doesn't have this.
And so bad.
Does it necessarily need that to be good? Why is this bad? Corridors, you can like them, you can dislike them.
I don't care about the linearity.
I personally do not care about it.
Less connected, less real. It does have a main area.
What do you mean it's less real? In our world, there are places that are deserts, places that are ice.
Places that are literal. You walk in this path, and if you can't go off this beaten path.
It is a world that is, hey, over here is just this lightning place. Hey, over here is just this weird magical forest. It makes it doesn't feel real. Does that mean?
This fantasy world doesn't feel real.
What?
Real. It does have a main area of sorts called the Conlands, but I say of sorts because it's more akin to 13's Arkeld area.
And his mindset is it needs to have this main area in order to feel connected. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing he wants like let's say there's this big circle, and over here at the top left, this goes to Kilika Village, and over here it goes to Makalania, and over here it goes down here in the Thunder Plains.
So it's always the main area that you need.
So you need to come back from the Thunder Plains and then travel back over here to get to Makalania.
That's
because other things have done this, and such, this is the only good way to do this.
13's Arkill Step area. They give you a ton of space to walk around in, and in 13's case, a shitload of side quests.
Why are you going to a game? You said this changed everything,
and
but you
hate it, and you call Final Fantasy 13 shite.
And you go to a game that comes after this to prove how this should be done.
So
that doesn't make a
basically,
whole lot of sense.
I guess it changed things, and then something else improved it. Does my door have a lock?
My door does too. I never noticed it. I prefer not to lock it just in case there's a fire. And
you start panicking.
Yeah. I can't get out. Or you guys need to come in for something. I'm not trying to mess with that.
Of side quests, while in 10's case, 5 side quests. Lottie fucking da. And the Calmlands.
But again, you picked the future thing to just go, hey, they improved on what they did before. So what was before must be bad now. I guess Final Fantasy VII's graphics must be bad since they improved on the graphics with 10. That's basically what you're telling me.
It's nuts.
And the Calmlands are also some of the last areas you visit in the game. It's not a fun place to traverse, and it shares problems with what traversing feels like.
It's not a fun place to traverse. Thank you for your insightful commentary. Why is it not fun? Is it too big? Well, if it's too big, you can go get a chocobo and traverse it faster. Are the encounters not? Are they not strong enough?
Is there not enough to do in it?
Is it just because it's a big open plain with not buildings or anything around? I don't know.
What traversing feels like for the rest of the game. Levels feel too calculated, too empty. Because of this, you can now categorize every area you go to as the desert level, the ice level, or the forest level. Because nothing happens most of the time to make any of these areas stand out for themselves. The story might.
The forest level has a bunch of like floating magical, not pillars. Walkways.
He really condensed it down to the base level of what these things are to just go, bad level design. In Final Fantasy VII, you can go the city, the factory, the woods.
You can do that with basically anything.
Anything.
In Persona 5, the casino, the factory,
the bank,
the prison.
Might continue while in some of them, yet that doesn't make a location stand out. The pacing of the chapters are quick, which isn't a problem if you know what you're doing in the amount of time you give each location.
The story might continue within there, but it doesn't make it memorable.
The story might continue while in some of them, yet that doesn't make a location stand out.
While in some of the locations, so the story might progress.
When does the story not progress in a location?
What makes a location memorable to you?
If we're looking at it in the past Final Fantasy, what is a memorable location to you?
And why was that memorable over a giant Iceland?
Why is the Thunder Plains not memorable where it's just like there are these big pillars that were built here because Muff was getting zapped? There's this B-Sade is just this little rinky-dink little island off on the corner where a bunch of hicks are, and then you got these big futuristic Blitzball villages. No, but it's just not memorable because it's not memorable. Thank you. You've said a lot with that.
We're probably gonna stop at presentation.
you sleepy baby.
No,
bum.
dude. I wanted to cook before you got in.
He's the one that's cooking.
Yet that doesn't make a location stand out. The pacing of the chapters are quick, which isn't a problem.
What are you looking for?
I was looking at the time.
Oh yeah, we're at 29. We got 39 left. So we've got about 4 minutes until he hits presentation.
Ooh.
Know what you're doing in the amount of time you give each location, but 10 doesn't. It ends up feeling like the most uninformed automated tour guide.
And if you look to your right, you can see the wonderful land of Moonflow.
Right, the shoe puff?
Well, that sure was fun. And next up, welcome to the weird forest of
But-
Guacamole.
But no,
This looks like a good place.
yeah, there's a big tree that they live in. But there's that, you can walk through and talk to NPCs and it's like, yeah, Guadalsalam was built, blah, 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 blah. There's that old dude that just goes, hey, do you want to know about the Calmland?
Blake.
Hey, you can walk up to Orin and just, with the shoe puff where he just goes, yeah, Jack got drunk and he hit that shoe puff and then he's so sorry that he never drank again and he offered all of his money. Good to see the shoe puff is still working here. Nothing to do with, like, I love that. It was so good.
It's really just character building. What am I looking for? The thing that everybody says that nobody has. Character development is really just character development. We know a little bit more about Jack now.
And the world, because shoe puffs apparently lived for at least 20 years, because that's how long it... No, it wasn't 20 years. It was, I think it was about 10, because Yuna and Arn and Titus... Yeah, no, it was about 10. So yeah, it's still the shoe pieces.
Guacamole.
Comments are going to get on my neck, I know they are.
No, I feel like it's going to be a very split of, I'm not calling him Titus, that's a dumb name, it's Titus, and it's in the game, it's his name, just call him Titus.
Excuse me, Guadalsalam. And now over the, Thunder Plains to another forest, which, the fuck's that called?
You can make anything sound bad if you put on a confused voice.
Macadamia Woods. And next up,
Hello?
Macadamia Woods?
But yeah, like I said, you can make anything sound bad if you put on a confused voice and just go, whoa, this is this, and this is this.
Like a Joker's mocking voice. With the triggered string.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There was too many Jokers flying around in my head. I had to pick
P5, Batman Joker.
Yeah, like, Joker.
Oh yeah, that's Joker. That's what we were thinking of. Where they don't say the character's name, they just say the nickname.
That's one of them.
Macalania?
Oh, it's also P4 where he goes partner.
Yeah.
Macalania Woods. And next up, Ice World? What?
I'm glad he put more
This is
more
part of the
jokes.
woods? Okay, fuck it. Just look at the pretty PS2 graphics, you lemmings.
The world doesn't give context to care about it or the people living within.
Yes, they do.
Dude, what do you mean by it doesn't give context to the world itself? What could you possibly mean by that sentence?
I'm extrapolating what he means by just, oh, this is just the Thunder Plains.
He's
But you can go to any town and talk to the NPCs and they will tell you about them. Sometimes they'll walk up and just as they're floating up, walk up and be like, hey, it's the in city. Yeah, we play Blitzball because we got to get people's mind off of sin. Mm-hmm. There's stuff like that where they will tell you about what's going on within the town. Or it just doesn't happen. It never happens.
Never happened.
You're in Jose Temple, the next you're in Moonflow. 1 second you're in Mean
Yes,
Hyrule,
because you travel to that place. You go, now we are leaving Jose Temple, and now we need to rise this shoe pluff to over here. That's... What? Does he want like a half lightning place and a half thunder? I mean, a half ice place to connect the two? What
Are we back to Dritz?
But what does he mean by it just doesn't connect? First you're here and then you're here.
How does a world not connect?
This is a place that you need to go to, and then you go to another place to go to another place.
This seems like you based what you felt off the limitations of the system that were placed beforehand. Because let's just say there's a Final Fantasy VII place that is central. Could you not say that that's because of the limitations of the PS1 to where it was just like, we can't have all these going across the globe. You just gotta keep coming back here.
But yeah, it just must be that central hub thing where he just wants a circle with 8 lines going off. So every time you go, you can't go past whatever that line is. You just go into that town, come back to the central hub, and then go off to the next town.
Because we in the world right now, IRL, are connected to each other. I can catch a boat and go, or a plane and go practically anywhere in this world.
I can go from Florida, which is very tropical, to an ice location in Antarctica. It's going to take a while, but I can still do that. The do you mean by connecting?
Mihen High Road, the next you're in Mushroom Rock. The hallway might tie these places together, but it doesn't make them feel connected as a whole. Writing
It connects them, but it doesn't feel connected. I don't. That's not an argument, dude. What are you talking about? It literally connects them, but it doesn't feel that way. I don't.
That's like that comment that I had where it was just like, I see what you're talking about, but I disagree.
feel connected as a whole. Writing this section, I even had to look up the names of these areas. It's shitty treatment of your world when an area just exists as a place for these people to go through without anything happening to make the majority of them memorable. Instead,
what do you mean that anything happening? This is where the Blitzball took place. There was that town that Sin completely destroyed. There's only one place where you need to dodge all the lightning. There's only one place that's in a tree. Besaid is the first place, and it's a very small village. No, it just doesn't. It just isn't.
Instead, maybe make some subquests or something? Get a thing to help a guy who has lost his daughter to sin.
How would that help this island?
How would it help the levels feel connected?
How would that help this feel more memorable? It would just go from the ice place to that place where I found the girl's doll.
To sin that reminds him of her to help you get a boat so you can travel around Spira.
That's a whole different game now.
That's a whole different
Traveling
game.
around Spira? No, we have a set path because this is the path of the summoner. Once that path is done for, that's when we get the open world of you can go wherever you want because there's no more path other than we need to kill that month Sin.
On Spira. Travel, like you did before? Like that one thing you did before?
Okay, so you're here in this tropical place, and then you're on a boat, and then you go to the ice place. Where's the connection? If you can just go wherever you want from one place to another, where's the connection? Is it just water? But you complained about that with the shoe puff going from one place to another. So it can't be water. This is nuts.
One thing you did before? Nah, let's just have a random Yeti smash the ground so you fall down into an empty ice lake where Sin then suddenly shoot the whoop.
It's the bottom of a temple. They said that.
But I can make it sound like it's worth nothing if I derogatorily say where nothing happens.
I suppose you can.
Shoot to a desert. Are we simply not gonna question that? The game needed a random Yeti to come out while you're being chased by Seymour's goons.
It didn't need it. They could have beaten this and then just went, we need to hide, jump into this hole. Didn't need this.
You're being chased by Seymour's goons, who upon defeating him, smashes a thick layer of ice, sending you falling who knows how far, to justify your party getting teleported from an ice world to a desert world. Oh, and how do they even survive the fall? Look how far of a drop that is. There's so many conveniences that take me completely out of the story. Sin kills an army of people at Mushroom Rock. Any casualties to your party? Nope, none. In Luca...
Okay, we can't be talking about this casualness. I mean, the conveniences without just deriding gaming in general. Without deriding story in general. And if you want to do that, more power to you. But don't point it out in a specific thing like it's a negative when it happens in everything.
Yeah, I don't, this is complete and total bullshit. You're getting zapped by lightning. Why aren't you dying? Cut this bullshit out, dude. Come on now. You know what's up.
Nope, none. In Luca, fiends just randomly appear just because. Why the fuck are...
No. It is a NPC later that goes, Seymour did it. Just to seem better for the people.
Oh yeah, he gets to take them out. Who was it? Powerpuff Girls, that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Us. Why the fuck are they here? Is it Zin? Feels like an excuse to have the
There are
introduction-
also
Hey,
fiends.
if you engaged with the game, you might have discovered what happened.
Even without that, there are fiends everywhere. I see no reason why they couldn't just get into here. They don't say that, hey, we have this big defense system or whatever.
There's no fiends on this island. Haven't been for 30 years.
They don't say anything like that.
Have the introduction of Orin be cool more than anything. Moonflow is the same with Riku. The shoe puff just feels like an excuse to have Yuna kidnapped in the water antagonizing the Albet. Rather
It's like I said, it's character development. Orin remembers that fondly. We get more about Jack and his sorrow about in the shoe puff thing. There's a lot going on there. It's not simply for this. It's also for travel, because this isn't the first time. I think either this is or isn't the first time. We've ride the shoe puff a couple of times, and this doesn't happen. This is one time that this happens.
in the water antagonizing the Albet. Rather than just being its own fucking thing. There's very little that happens to
What do
make
you
the
mean
world-
being its own thing?
I guess
it ties into
her being kidnapped being its own thing, as opposed to being part of the introduction of Riku, or Riku's introduction.
Can we get that again just to make?
Zin feels like an excuse to have the introduction of Orin be cool more than anything. Moonflow is the same with Riku. The shoe puff just feels like an excuse to have Yuna kidnapped in the water antagonizing the Albet. Rather than just being its own fucking thing. There's very little that happens to make the world...
I honestly don't know.
I honestly don't know
if he's talking about the shoe puff being its own thing, or Riku coming being its own thing, or the kidnapping being its own thing. I honestly do not know what he's talking about.
Fucking thing. There's very little that happens to make the world seem interesting or relatable.
Yeah, there just isn't. Hey, there just isn't anything that very much stuff to make the world seem interesting or relatable. Relatable.
The world relatable?
Relatable. When Sin destroys that village, you can walk around and talk to people. Some people are just like, where is my husband? Some people are like, don't talk to this person. They're being affected by Sin's toxic. Some people are like, we gotta rebuild. There's a lot going on just with this village that's being destroyed. Don't say that there's not. You can talk to people and get what's going on in the world. People that are just randomly excited about the Blitzball tournament.
But no.
People who have given up hope about ever beating Sin. People are just
people
like,
that are hopeful. Let's get them.
Yeah, a summoner. Go get them.
We got our hopes in you.
Interesting or relatable. It needed more moments like this. Moments like...
What is that moment? I've never played that game. Can you explain that moment to me?
What the is that moment?
What is the difference of that moment?
Is that a world thing or is that a character thing?
I truly don't know, because I've never played that game.
Is this about the world of the characters? I don't know, but there are small little character moments. Like Tita's coming back. I said it. Oh no! In void. Cut that part out.
We
Cut
got
that part out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
But like when Titus goes around and tries to get Kimari to smile. Small stuff like that. I don't know what this is.
Moments like this. Moments that...
What is that? It's a festival? Is that it? I don't know. Because just going this and expecting the audience to know, I can't agree or disagree with your assertion of what should have been different for Final Fantasy X, because I don't know what these other two games did.
And your criticism is nothing feels relatable
or interesting. What is interesting about this is a lot of light. You showed me two explosions, essentially. Fireworks and fireworks. Oh, you mean like the first Blitzball game?
It's like this. Moments that were just on their own and didn't feel like they
Like trying to get Kimari to smile.
That was completely on its own.
Like Tina just going, Yuna, how you feeling? Sometimes you just gotta laugh.
Like the moment where in the beginning, as they're leaving Besaid Village, they go, Chapu didn't pray at this thing. And he died. And you can choose to pray or not, and it affects literally nothing in the game. There's a character who goes, I don't really like this Crusader stuff. I like chocobos. You can go be a chocobo farmer. Or not, and you get nothing from that.
What did that Blitzball game mean with Waka?
It's just something that he wanted to do. Donna at the end, she goes, this whole Summoners is bullshit. I want to quit. And you can go, you can quit or you cannot quit. And it affects nothing. Don't... In the grand scheme of things, what is Kimari fighting for his honor, his Ronzo honor, mean for the story? Shut the f up. I leveled him up purely for that fight. I'm like, you're gonna be leveled up only enough to beat them.
I'm gonna look up a guide for the minimum level required.
No, because I just switched them in a fight, had them guard. It was a boss fight. I'm just like, you're gonna get like 10 spear levels. I did that a couple times. I'm like, that's gonna be enough, by God, because that's all you get.
And if it ain't, well, we got a problem. I remember you didn't need to level him up though. You could just use his skill.
It makes it harder.
on their own and didn't feel like they existed just to carry the story on to the next place. Instead, there's a reliance.
How did the Blitzball thing feel like it needs to carry this story on to this other place? Because the Blitzball didn't need to happen. They could just go, we need to go in this town, and then the Fiends attack anyway. This is just something that Waka wanted to do. To just be like, I'm doing this Blitzball, and then I'm done with Blitzball pure summoner stuff. Because my head was in the game last time. Character stuff, not leading directly into story stuff.
Instead, there's a reliance on the characters talking about their end goals or frustrations, which is fine, but they talk about them so fucking much and the revelations revealed are so obvious. Kinda like another game, 14. And I'm not saying that character development...
As opposed to Barrett going, I'm really frustrated and angry right now, Cloud. As opposed to Aerith going, hey Cloud, I'm feeling this way about what's happening. Characters express how they feel in JRPGs all the time, including Final Fantasy games. I don't see this as a thing that happened in Final Fantasy X where it's just like, oh, it changed everything afterwards forever.
No, he said that they do it an arbitrary amount, and that is too much.
The line was crossed. The line I set was crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Important. But in a game where you save the world, one's motivation to save it usually rises when you care about the world. Like in
Yes,
Final Fantasy...
everybody is living in constant fear of sin.
Oh, thank you for saying like in Final Fantasy VII and explaining Final Fantasy VII. Thank you.
They are in constant fear of sin.
Yes.
You talk to people and they will talk about sin. You feel sin's presence as he's destroying towns. He does like big old blasts and they're just wiping through waters and landscapes.
This is when you care about the world. Like in Final Fantasy VII, there's tons of cool side stories that happen in between chasing the means to do battle with Sephiroth. And I think most of them can stand on their own. 10 has the pilgrimage, Blitzball at Luca.
What does that do for making you care about the world? No. Those are just side quests.
He didn't explain that aspect of it.
Do I care about the world more because I found this little girl's doll?
And now Final Fantasy X does the same, but I'm just not as interested. Because he's about to name them all.
The pilgrimage, Blitzball at Luca, pointless battle against sin, and...
See what I mean? He didn't even explain what made it feel cool in Final Fantasy VII. He showed an explosion.
Unbelievable.
And then went, oh, pointless battle. You can do it in Final Fantasy X too, but pointless battle.
They are criminal for not giving us that dress in battle.
Pointless battle against sin and Seymour.
Look how good she looks. Her hair is immaculate.
I'm surprised they didn't do it in X2.
That would have been good. That would have been a good white mage or like a... I don't know. You have to reference the previous game and the white mage outfit, but not the white mage. It was another one that referenced.
I wouldn't know. I never played X2.
How dare you? It's fantastic.
Like
It's
in
pretty
Sin
good. It's
and
alright.
Seymour. Now, this may sound like a lot.
That Seymour outfit is bangerific. It's just, I don't know why the red on the left side is
Just that low pop of red.
That's all it needed to be a 10-star outfit.
This may sound like a lot, but what does this contribute to the world? Well, let me put it like this. It feels like a stupid move for them to hold a Blitzball tournament when Sin just destroyed a village. And
Waka literally explained what the purpose was. He said that the people need a distraction.
Yep. Brands and circuses.
The people love Blitzball. This is a way to forget that there's giant monsters coming to squish you.
It'd be like if a town got attacked and then there's kids just playing soccer. And you're going, oh, why would it feels pointless to play soccer with all this destruction? Well, they don't want to think about the destruction.
I see nothing wrong with that, especially considering they explained it. You can say that that's dumb. You can have your issues with it, but just saying why are they doing it point blank period.
When the game explains.
Game explains it.
It feels like a stupid move for the Crusaders to fight against Sin when they know they can't beat him.
They don't know that they can't beat them.
Otherwise, why would they be trying to fight against them?
Their whole thing is our expertise, which we have been doing for hundreds of years, plus these forbidden machina that we're finally gonna use, we're gonna beat Sin. Before we just hit them with swords and that didn't work. Now we're using machina and of course it will work because we got this big cannon. It wasn't just like, all right, boys, time to die.
When they know
I see zero screenshots of them saying, hey, go time in the grave. Let's just dig.
When they know they can't beat him. And it was. It feels like a stupid move for Yuna to marry Seymour. And it was.
No, Yuna constantly in this game goes, I can't do much, but what I'm gonna do. The people need hope, and summoners are their hope. I'm gonna marry this mom to give people some hope. Two big summoners coming together. She constantly is self-sacrificing for this. Is it a bad move? Because it's just like, what exactly were you planning on doing?
What was the next step?
But she's so naive that she's like, this is all that I can do. We can't just kill him again.
And if you want to talk about her character, the issue of that's a whole different
different thing.
And we can have that.
But just is stupid. No. This is within her character to do this thing.
And we've already established that the people need hope. Otherwise, they're just going to give up. There are people already giving up when the village gets attacked. So let's give them a little hope. Let's give them a little distraction. And hopefully we can rally them to recover from this.
Seymour. And it was. And finally, it feels like a stupid move to do the pilgrimage. And guess what? It fucking was.
Hey, it's just stupid to do the pilgrimage. That's my point. This thing that has factually worked in the past to kill Sin off for at least a couple of years is stupid to do this. Why? Because it's stupid to do this.
It fucking was. All these moments did for 10 was prove that the people within it are stupid, trying so desperately to paint a picture for the player that they forgot how to write interesting scenarios and kept throwing power struggles at you. In 7, I cared about saving the world because 7 cared about me saving the world.
What? That's the dope. So Final Fantasy X just didn't care about you saving the world.
As these people are about to get wiped out by Sin.
As we are witness to that happening.
And cared about me saving the world. 10 has to show some hint of believability in the world and characters to let you fall in love with the Vistas and the citizens, which...
Hey! Where's my wife?
just got wiped away. There are 2 Crusaders who you can talk with. And depending on who you talk to and the amount of times that you talk to, one of them can live, one of them can die. Neither of them can live, though. I guess you can't feel for them muffs. I guess you can't feel for just the people who are just living in fear. The people who just go, you talk to them and go, hey, good job, summoner, here's an item. No, you just don't. Because I say that you don't, and I'm not proving that you don't, but I'm just saying that you don't. This is not the way that you do it. You can say you don't feel anything for these stories or characters or anything, but you have to go, I went through this entire village and nobody mentioned sin. Nobody mentioned sin in Guadalajara. So do they not care what's going on here? Why do they have their own little culture? But you're not doing that. You just said, I don't care because the people don't care, and you're not showing any evidence that nobody cares.
Me care because it wanted me to care.
Because it made me care because I do care. And then I don't care over here because I don't care.
Love with the Vistas and the citizens, which, while it does have some shit to show, it never does. Instead, it has to tell you about how cool everyone is. Machen's the most prevalent example that I can think of. He'll appear around periodically whenever you're in a new part of the world and acts as a wordy plot dump for these lands that have so little to do with the actual game. He even gets a cameo appearance in the direct sequel.
What do you mean so little to do with the actual game?
I guess the story beforehand, so it's not things that...
Didn't he say that things should just happen outside of it being story relevant?
But this is past stuff, not stuff that's happening with us, so it doesn't count.
Cameo appearance in the direct sequel where his role in 10 gets mocked for being incredibly boring. His inclusion was an admirable attempt at world building, but a failure of an attempt.
Why did it fail? It literally built the world. But I guess because I didn't like it, it failed.
Failure of an attempt.
I think that's the next.
Yep. Yeah, we would have hit 3 hours if we would have tried to get past this.
Potentially.
Dude, this is going to be a presentation. 6.5 hour video.
Story is going to be rough.
Story is going to be so rough. If this is what he's bringing to the table.
Not favorable, I'll say.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a big smelly mark for this game.
Thumbs leaning down.
Thumb all the way down.
Yeah, I guess we'll just return Saturday stream. We need to decide what we're actually going to do for Viewer Request Month because it's technically 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. And we're not doing that. So we could record this and then put this out on a Friday and then make that Saturday just a regular revisited and then start Viewer Request Month proper starting on the 6th, 7th, 8th.
I don't think people would be very favorable.
Then what are we gonna do? Because these would be 2 episodes. We gotta finish this. Yeah. So what? Are we gonna put this out on a Wednesday? Record it Tuesday, put it out on Wednesday. Record Thursday, put this out on Friday.
Yeah, I think. Oh, you meant so Saturday is still a Viewer Request Month?
No, I'm saying these 2 are regulars.
I don't like.
And then, okay, so what are we gonna do? Because then look, that's
oh, that's 5.
I literally just said it's 5 weeks, DA.
No, 5 weeks is different from 5 Saturdays.
5?
Because there's 4 Mondays, and that's different from 5 Saturdays.
I should have said it's 5 things we have to do.
We've gone through that before when we went, what was the... I forget what it was exactly, but we've gone through the number semantics thing. Oh, there is 5. Hey, that's 5 paychecks for your boy. I get paid every Friday.
Not your boy, because monthly boy.
Oh, okay. I can splurge a little bit for the birthday. BIRF day. Yeah. I would rather.
Yeah, let's hear this bullshit.
I would rather take that Saturday and bank it in case we haven't finished anything. If we have, we can do fill on that Saturday, or
I can rock with a fill. But again, we still got to do something for this Friday, because are we just going to put out the second
we're
part?
We're just going to put out the second part,
okay.
and then viewer request month proper is that stream.
This stream?
Yes.
So I guess we're doing fill on it. Okay.
Yeah, if we are not completed with anything,
yes.
If we're done with everything, we're good. If not,
that works for me.
Yeah,
that works.
That month is everything everything.
No, stop coming to these.
My goodness,
the worst voting ever, the least cooking ever. No, 2 was worse. Because we had to literally save 2.
Yes. I am appreciative of us not getting... Because with viewer request month, it's very weird. Because say if it was something, a manga that we've never read. Like Evangelion. It's like, the end of Evangelion is brilliant. And we read Evangelion, it's like, the end of Evangelion is trash. And now we have to watch... The video is the end of Evangelion is trash, and we believe it's also trash, and we have to sit there and just go, no, it is trash.
Yeah.
As we just sit there and just go, yep, no, it's trash. So that's the problem with watching or reading new stuff, because I might agree that Spider-Man is too woke. Capital W oak. Yeah.
Mary Jane isn't wank material no more. That's a 40-minute boy.
I can't pump out a fat load to her.
Boo.
I'm not hungry, but I am tired.
I am hungry.
I
still technically gotta finish up some work. They're killing me, y'all. They're killing me. I'm probably honestly gonna work Friday, even though I don't need to, just to whittle down some of this nonsense.
They called me in on Friday.
Are you serious?
I was supposed to only work from 8 to 1:30, and then they were like,
hey, how about a 10:30 to 7 p.m. for your boy?
How about that 10 hours? Yeah, no, we're getting it. We're close to...
Hey, I'm about to be 0 hours soon on y'all, so y'all better get to.
They're gonna hit that booyah, and it's gonna be the same thing that happened in my last job. With like, wait, what did you want? I forget. What exactly did you want? Because we got that on docket right now. I'm signing the paper. I'm signing it.
We'll pull you into the office right now and do it for you.
Where was this? A month ago. No, it was there. It was in the process.
There's never movement until there needs to be movement. And by then, you're mentally clocked out, so it doesn't matter. I remember when I quit McDonald's years ago. The head manager, the general manager of the entire, literally 12 stores, walked up and went, "Is it something I did?" And I went, "No, I got bit. An employee bit me."
I don't believe you, sir. It is also the people that are getting me, because you're supposed to reset the password. It's supposed to be a random password. I don't use a random password.
Are you talking about customers or are you?
Yeah, the customers. Oh. It's supposed to be a random password. You're supposed to use a password generator to mix up words and letters and stuff like that. I don't do that. I make it a little bit easier. And it's the easiest thing. Look at your keyboard, and I'm going to tell you what the password that I give. Okay, it's going to be all lowercase except for the first letter is going to be capital. It's going to be capital A as an apple. Let me know when you understand what I'm doing. Okay. Lowercase S as in Sam.
Yep, I already got it. You're going straight across the keyboard. The first time you said A, I went, he's probably going straight across the keyboard. The only other thing I can think of is boom, 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 boom. But I feel like that would be too hard for some people.
I have told people 5 or 6 times.
Oh, wait. Dude,
how do you not realize that you're...
I got this call yesterday. That was like, hey, so this thing isn't letting me upload a document. And I went, okay. Go to the manager. Oh, I see what you... So what you did was you created a template off of this thing. That's not what you want to do. You want to upload the file directly. So what you're going to do is exit this, go into your edit left nav, go into it, and you're going to see your menu manager. All right, so you right click. What do I right click? You right click the folder. All right, so I see folder, file, link, blah blah blah. Okay. Under that stuff, right under that, there's a yellow folder. You right click that. Okay, right click it. All right. It's telling me delete, new page, blah blah. New page. Okay. All right. Now on the right side, you'll see new page up top, and then under it, you'll see browse or link something. You don't want that. You want to upload the file. Okay. I'm hitting upload. It's not letting me upload. Nothing's popping up. It's okay. It's popping up for me. Do you have a pop-up blocker? What's that? All right. What web browser are you using?
No.
I'm trying to upload the file. No. So, all right. Is it Firefox? Is it Chrome? Oh, it's Chrome. It's Chrome. Okay. Can you go up top on Chrome? Where on Chrome? Oh, I see. It's the pop-up blocker. Okay. Yeah. All right. Allow pop. Okay. Got that. All right. Hit that. Reload the page. Hit it. Now it's popping up. Okay, cool. So, I upload the file. All right. Cool. And save it. All right. And then exit. Okay. It's not here. Did you save both the file and the new page? Oh, I had to save both of them? Okay, so I upload the file. I'm going to go through this again. I'm going to upload the file. It's telling me to overwrite the file. Do I overwrite the file? It does not matter. Just upwrite the file. All right, file's overwritten. Okay.
You can literally do anything here.
All right, rename it.
Literally. There's no wrong answers.
All right, saved. All right, it's saved there. Okay, it's there. I see it at the bottom. I see new page at the bottom. All right, you can delete new page because that's nothing now. All right, but I want to move it up to the top. All right, so you go back to your menu manager, okay? And then you left click the thing you want, and you hold it. All right, what am I right clicking? You left click the 2024. You hold it, and then you scroll up to where you want to put it. It's not letting me do it. It's saying it's not allowed. That's not possible.
You are doing that is something wrong.
And it shows a green arrow when you can do it. Just do it. No, it's not letting me. All right, I'll do it tomorrow when I gain access to the site. The guy gave me access to the site today. I woke up, it was done. They had done it. Or they got somebody else to do it. This was the lead councilwoman.
Troglodytes.
Dude, it was a high-ranking government official for a city. The city manager, my bad.
I've had IT managers calling in. It's like, you manage IT.
Dude, it's truly scary because my whole job, I work with municipalities, which are cities, counties, that type of thing from all over the country. It's truly scary how much these people are in positions of power. And they just don't know nothing going on.
No, they know now.
They don't know. And it's super scary because it's just like these mothers are leading the country, and they can't tell me what a browser is.
Are leading the everything, so you can't open your computer. What happens if you need something like, oh no, I need this real quick?
I have a ticket right now. This is like, I'm scared that when we move our site live, we'll have a bunch of broken links. And I went, as long as you follow the guidelines, there will be no broken links. Well, so right now there's an option when you create a new page to browse and point to that page. Can't we just create that for this thing? One, I don't know if that's possible with the system. And two, it's going to be the same problem because it's going to point to the server that's not live because you're currently not live. Whether you link it or point it to it, it's going to point.
Episode 2 of Ain't No Breaks.
Dude. This bit is killing me.
Troglodytes.
It's crazy. with.
You're hungry. You're hungry.
I don't care. We have there's sliders. You can create sliders and carousels and HTML and Bootstrap and all that stuff. So it slides through images. Muff went, can you put 2 images side by side? I went, use a photo joiner. Use Photoshop. One of my coworkers got this thing. This is the last thing I'm gonna say, and then we will out of this. One of my coworkers got. Is there a way for you guys, us, to center all the faces when we upload an image? It's like crop the image.
It's legitimately do it, IT man.
That legit. And we're like,
you
would have to train an AI on your individual faces and then implement that AI and then
so by Monday. Yeah, so
I'm not here to know
about Tuesday because we need that now. Yeah. No, we're not getting a wee woo. It's not the end.
Oh yeah.
We can hit a
wee too.
We're going wee, and we'll hit the woo next week.
Hopefully
next week.